7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Bad host. Bad host. Why am I scanning 30 seconds before we're jumping on the air, looking through the guide, trying to find Olympic coverage? Because I got just a little glimpse of it earlier, just a little taste of it earlier. And now I'm like, I'm in. I want to watch more. U.S. women's hockey.
You will have. Do they? I should know this. Do they start the coverage tonight, or we got to wait till tomorrow on the network?
Coverage, I don't think, starts until Friday with the opening ceremonies. But I mean, and we don't have Peacock here in the studio for me to know whether or not. But knowing that, I think it was USA that was covering the U.S. women's hockey team's win earlier today.
I was pointing to the monitor for a different reason because today is a big day. When Brian Windhorst shows up in this big blue suit with a tie, like it's NBA trade deadline day. I'm dressing to the nines.
I saw a deal that sent like a 2032 second round pick and some. I'm like, I can't wrap my mind around the NBA trade deadline. I'm not that bright. There's too many deals being cut, and these deals extend way too far into the future. I don't know what the world looks like in 2032.
Well, a lot of it for us here, like on our show, we're smart enough to tell you what we don't know, and I don't know. Like, hey, this trade that, the 9th or 10th man on the roster going over to this team with the 9th.
Who wins?
Yeah, who wins? Not even going to touch that. Your headline story, Giannis didn't get traded.
Okay.
The end.
Okay.
Yep, they're going to wait till the offseason, and Milwaukee picked up 2 other guys today from Phoenix, and maybe they think they can make a run. Good for them. Next.
Yeah. All right, so that's the big headline from the trade deadline as of right now. I mean, yes, there's names. Porzingis going to the Warriors.
Yeah, Harden last night.
Yeah.
But as far as the 3 o'clock deadline, nothing earth-shattering happened.
We got a great show lined up for you this afternoon here in the Sports Bar. Get ready for 3 hours of fantastic sports talk in the Flower City, and we appreciate you listening at 95.7 FM, AM 950. You can find the Fan Rochester and the free-to-download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps. Also streaming live every afternoon. You can watch the Sports Bar on a YouTube channel and on Twitch at the Fan Rochester. I'm Mike Danger. That's Gene Battaglia. There is a Rochester connection to the U.S. women's hockey team. I don't know if you knew that or not. Haley Wynn is a Rochester native, a +3 today.
I don't know if you knew this or not, Danger. She was on the Sports Bar.
Years ago, right?
No, this past summer.
Was she? Was I not here?
You were in Europe or whatever. But our good friend Steve Bradley knows Haley's mom, and this was before the P draft, PWHL, where I believe she went 3rd overall. So exciting. So the draft was up in Ottawa. It was in that context, like, hey, where was she 2nd overall? Forgive me, to the Wynn family, but she goes high in that draft, and we knew at that point likely she would be named an Olympian. In fact, there are 8 grads from the BK Selects girls hockey program that are Olympians.
Yeah. Pretty good.
That's outstanding.
And more of them will get fed here through the course of time as, you see some of them that we've talked to playing in college and just maybe not at that level yet, that maturity level, that age yet where, okay, you're going to be an Olympian, but they're going to be there. And for Haley, a +3 today in the game. And I know Haley's brother, Ryan, who is fantastic. The Wynn family feels like they're just a great family. And got to be beaming with pride today with the big Team USA win.
Yeah, Pride of Webster. So that's good. Chechnya, the win over. And the Canada-Finland game postponed until next week.
Yeah, that I didn't like hearing.
No.
The reasoning behind that I didn't like hearing.
Well, it's an interesting question, right? Like, so apparently Finland's team all comes down with a coronavirus, which you don't need to go look that up. If you know, right? It's disgusting. But from sportsmanship, if you can't play, you can't play, right? We're just going to reschedule this. You're not feeling well. We're going to reschedule it for next week. Okay.
No forfeiture.
No.
Rescheduling.
I guess
I just don't like the idea. Maybe it's some sort of mild PTSD that when you hear of a virus sweeping through a team, then I start thinking, oh God, here we go again. Wait, when am I going to hear the great words, abundance of caution? Is that coming soon to an Olympic broadcast near you?
Well, is it a hockey thing? I don't know if it's because of the ice and the cold or whatever it is, but it seems like whenever you get a cold, flu, whatever bug you get through, that seems to be the sport where you don't really hear about it, kind of setting back a football team, say, for instance, 6 to a dozen players. It doesn't happen that often. Hockey, yeah, you always hear these stories.
We have a big event happening on Sunday. I don't know if you heard. We haven't talked enough about the Super Bowl, have we?
Do we have to?
I really don't want to.
Do we?
But we will check in with our favorite chowder. That would be Fitzy from WEEI, our Odyssey Sports sister station in Boston.
Is he going to do like a Deion Sanders, take his palm of his hand, put it back, elbow bent, and just high step all over us? I don't think so. He's not that guy.
No, Fitzy is self-aware enough to know, oh, yeah, I'm an arrogant Patriots fan. He'll be the first one to say, we are arrogant, we are insufferable, we are back where, you wish you could be. And I think he's got enough. The arrogant Patriot fan that you don't like is the one that doesn't have the self-awareness. But that's not Fitzy.
I'm picking the Patriots, buddy.
Whoa.
This line looks way too fishy at 4.5. And the idea that when teams are favored by 4.5 points or more, this has happened 11 times since the year 2000. This stat tells you something, right? Teams that are favored by 4.5 points or more against the point spread are 1 in 10. So if this ends up being a close game, who wins close, ugly games? I'm having flashbacks to 2001. And granted, Drake Bay is not Tom Brady, but in 2001, Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady. That was the one Super Bowl. Like, how the hell did that team win? It should have been the Rams winning that game.
Right. So if they muck it up just enough and they kind of drag Seattle through their mud, they come out with an ugly win.
Yeah.
I can't follow you down this path, Gino. I'm sorry. I cannot.
No, not with your Seahawk colored sneakers.
They're my new running shoes, man. They're elite. I didn't realize, and then I looked at them, I'm like, oh, they're the Seahawks color. Seahawks by 1 billion.
What kind of green is it? The lime green then?
It's like the neon. It's like the highlighter.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we'll check in with Fitzy and see where he's at. Get a little preview of Sunday. And also, speaking of Sunday, Radio Row happening. Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, is on hand.
Yeah, so he and Stevie Johnson out there with the Sick podcast. I've seen some of the work, and it's these videos of Radio Row. I mean, is it kind of over the top now where you have like these big shows like McAfee and Kay Adams, everybody else, like just setting up these palaces?
Yeah, they have massive sets.
Yeah.
What it would be like to have a budget.
Well, if you and I showed up,
table,
we have a little table. Like, okay, can you run the Ethernet cable over here? Great. We don't have power. Great. Can we have some power? Day driver forgot the tablecloth.
Gino, when I went to the Bears game in Chicago earlier this season, what was the one text I sent you?
All right, so you sent me the text of the Bears radio broadcast. It's this massive setup.
It's a massive
and
set.
There's Courtney Cronin and all the personalities.
ESPN Chicago, they're broadcasting live from inside of Soldier Field, and they've got this massive stage and backdrop. They've got a set for their setup. We roll up with our folding card table, a tablecloth, a pull-up banner, and one Ethernet cable, and we call it a day. That's us.
That's why, I think, wow, what would it be like? And then
you'd be embarrassed.
I would be really.
Your insecurities would show.
Well, there has to be other markets our size that go to Radio Row.
There absolutely are. Right now, I can tell you, because I work in Richmond, Richmond is represented in Radio Row. Well, you can say, how? How did that happen? They got somebody to pay for it, and they are at Radio Row. There's no football team. And Richmond's alliance is, the closest alliance is the Commanders. But it's even that is like, really? You're a Commanders fan in Richmond, Virginia? But that's who they root for, and obviously the Commanders are not playing in the big game. So they are there. There's a handful of radio stations. I also noticed that the big prestigious award or ranking was released today while everybody's at Radio Row. afternoon drive mid-market shows of the year.
Oh.
The list of 20. I regret to inform you, Gino, we were snubbed once again.
I didn't even look. Mid-market? They bumped us up to mid-market? They probably don't have the small market category.
No, there is no small market category. So you can get some small markets in the mid-market category, and yeah.
I wonder if we continue not to place, if they'll bump us off afternoon drive danger.
That's going to be the factor. Yep, that's the one. So we were snubbed once again. We will go to Radio Row. We will check in with Michael F. Florio from the NFL Network and the host of the Sick Podcast with Stevie Johnson.
Did they name the top 10 CHR?
Not yet.
Not yet. So Mike Danger.
I was top 20 last year.
Top 20.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was giving you too much credit.
I want to say I was 19.
Sure, McDermott. You knew you were 19.
This year, fingers crossed. Can I crack the top 15? I'm not. It's a lofty goal. We'll see where it ends up. And I don't know when they release that. When they release that clickbait for us to share.
Do they send you a plaque or anything?
I didn't get a plaque.
No, you don't get anything.
I didn't get a plaque.
No.
I didn't get a plaque. They get all the clicks. They get all the, hey, I got nominated. I'm going to share this with everybody.
Yeah.
They get that, but no, we don't get the plaque. You can join us this afternoon on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line. That number is 866-4FAN. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street in East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com.
Yeah, there's a couple days left in the week and a different week here. We'll get to the Bills coordinator sound here in a little bit and digest that. Sabres tonight, last game before the break here. You don't want to ever say must win. But this is a team, Pittsburgh, you should beat. You don't want to go into the break kind of feeling a little bit off there. So we'll have that for you, 7 o'clock tonight, Sabres and Penguins.
They did make an announcement about who the team is retaining, the Bills. Joe Brady announcing that you'll get Kelly Skipper back as your running backs coach, and a guy that we've affectionately called Jimmy Stupinski Jr., Rob Boris, tight end coach, is remaining with the team. He looks like somebody we used to work with.
Right, yeah, like we all know that. Like, oh my gosh, that guy looks like that. And if you work in radio, you know Jimmy, and like that's Coach Jimmy out there.
Coach Jimmy, the tight end coach.
Yeah.
Rob Boris will be back.
Rob Boris, like you and I were up close though, watching him kind of work with guys. We have that.
He's hell of a coach.
Yeah,
hell of a coach.
Yeah, like right in guys' faces, showing technique.
Yeah, really, really good. And you watch him at training camp, and you recognize, okay, that's why he is who he is. That's really good. NFL honors tonight too. I don't know if that's a Francesa or if that's anybody's cup of tea. I imagine less people will be watching, knowing that Josh Allen, even though nominated, won't be winning the MVP this year.
Oh, who cares?
Yeah, I think we all tuned in last year. Just okay, this is our moment. It's not going to be Super Bowl, but our guy is getting the MVP. I don't believe there's really any other players Buffalo related that could win here tonight. I don't think James Cook offensive. No, I don't think that would work. So,
no, he's not nominated.
No.
I mean, which in retrospect is kind of like crazy. He's not even nominated, but I suppose when you factor in that there's quarterbacks in there as well, Drake May, not just a nominee for MVP, but also for Offensive Player of the Year. And then you have the Senior Players Coach and Contributor Pro Hall of Fame vote, the one that's gotten all the shine, all of the publicity because of who didn't get nominated as a unanimous first ballot, Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. We'll see who from that crop gets the nomination there. Kenny Anderson, Roger Craig, L.C. Greenwood, Belichick, and Kraft.
Can you imagine if let's say the Bills get to the Super Bowl and Jim Kelly was asked this question? Jim, who are you for the Super Bowl? He'd look at you like, that's a stupid question. For Buffalo, what are you talking about? Yeah, but they're playing the Buccaneers, and you went to college down in Florida. No, I'm for the Bills.
Yeah.
Okay, why? That's the analogy here. So Tom Brady goes on the Jim Gray show. They've been doing this forever, right?
The Let's Go podcast.
Yeah. And it was asked, like, I think Gray has to ask the question now that Brady, he's supposed to be impartial. He's, Fox broadcaster, and he's a part owner. And his quote, I don't have a dog in the fight in this one. May the best team win?
The Patriots have a statue of him outside of their stadium.
What the F is he talking about?
This guy should just get into politics now. Just leave the NFL. Just get into politics. You're already a politician.
Yeah, well, and shame on Jim Gray. Like, doesn't that warrant a follow call? The follow-up question should just be, really? Seriously. Tom, do you remember where you played? Do you have not any friends left in New England? How about that? Like, if you're going, I've heard this from Josh Allen, right? Hey, I'm not rooting for any team, but you know what? I have respect for Steph Diggs and Matt Collins. I would be happy for them. That's the easy out. For like Tom Brady, he could say, you know what? I've got friends on both sides. I've got more on the New England side. Whatever it is. I don't have a dog in the fight in this one. May the best team win.
I wonder if there is just an immense amount of hatred between the three of them.
Well, then why did you go back 2 summers ago and accept the red jacket?
Of course.
You are in the Patriot Hall of Fame.
Of course.
And they build a statue and
Of
blah,
course.
blah, blah.
Yep. But how, and just how much animosity exists between, and they're 3 gigantic egos, Kraft, Belichick, Brady. How much do they just secretly despise each other?
Translation, Tom Brady doesn't want to see the Patriots win without him. That Kraft did this, and he got it done.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And credit, like, Rob Gronkowski, Vince Wilfork calling BS on this. In fact, that's the exact quote from Vince Wilfork. That's bullcrap, Tom. All that political, this ain't political. It ain't political. It is what it is. Raiders ain't it. Say what it is, what you see.
I love it. Just get into politics now. If he ran for any office, he's winning. Where does he want to start? Mayor of Boston? Mayor of Tampa? Mayor of any city in America, he's probably winning, right? Go ahead. Get into it now because you've already mastered the art of playing politics when answering questions. We give you an answer that isn't an answer.
Gronkowski's quote is a little more what I was thinking. He probably wants to be the quarterback. It's true. He doesn't want to see Drake May up there. That's going to kill him.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's absolutely a good point. He loves himself so much that it can't be anybody but him winning for that team. Wow.
That's small, isn't it?
It is. Everybody has their insecurities, I suppose.
You could, like, if he said, hey, I'm for the Patriots, would anybody in Seattle be upset? If Tom Brady ran for Senate someday in Washington, would that cost him? Probably not, because he would be being authentic. This ain't authentic. Not at all. I made the best team win. I don't have a dog in the fight. You know what would be authentic? You'd be like, you know what? It will kill me to see another Patriot. It would be strange to see Drake May winning up there. Just true serum store stuff.
Speaking of the Patriots, I have a bit of trivia for you, Gino. I know you like your trivia.
I love trivia.
With Mike Vrabel having the opportunity here to be the 5th person to win a Super Bowl as both a player and a head coach, who are the 4 previous to do it?
All right, Dungy.
Dungy is correct.
Dungy was with the Steelers. Mike Ditka.
Ditka.
All right, this is where it gets tough. Flores?
Tom Flores.
Yes!
Very good.
All right.
Raiders player and head coach, much like Vrabel.
Oh, this is tough. Was Kubiak still on the roster with the Broncos? Oh, this is a gamble. Mike Danger, give me Gary Kubiak.
I cannot.
Oh!
You were so close. And really not that long ago either.
Isn't that funny? Like the one that's most recent, I can't come up with.
You can't come up with it because he wasn't like a star player. He was a player. He did guide his team to an improbable Super Bowl win.
Okay.
It was a Super Bowl win over the New England Patriots.
Okay. Then it's Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson.
Yep.
You
There's your
forget
4.
about Doug Peterson, the quarterback.
It's because he was a backup.
Actually, can I be honest? I forget about Doug Peterson, the head coach, too.
I mean, I would, except for that one play.
Yeah.
You want to go Philly special? You want to go Philly, Philly? Let's go Philly, Philly. One of the ballsiest plays you'll see in a Super Bowl. Doug Peterson, Nick Foles. And you forget that game really, like, that was a close game, even though that there were so many moments where it's like Philly just kind of had control, but New England didn't go away. It wasn't one-sided, and they got the win. Doug Peterson is the 4th. And Vrabel can join that cast of coaches with a win.
That's a good question, buddy.
Courtesy of Timmy Parmesan.
Hey.
Timmy Parmesan.
Hey, you know what? Well,
Timmy Parmesan feeding me content, and I can't even say he's Italian because he's not Italian, but he was feeding me some content, gave me a good trivia quiz. I told him I'd bring it up on the show, and I'd try to stump you.
Well, and look, Dungy didn't get it done with Tampa.
Right.
So Timmy, I know, being a Tampa fan there.
That's right. All right, we got to take a break, and we're going to come back. We'll check into Radio Row with our buddy Michael F. Florio. He is host of the Sick Podcast with Stevie Johnson, and you see his work on NFL Network all the time doing fantasy football for NFL Network. We'll let him be our ears and eyes at Radio Row this afternoon, and we'll get his takes on everything that's gone on here with the Buffalo Bills since last we spoke to Florio. We'll check in with what the new coordinators had to say as well. That's coming up later this afternoon. But in the meantime, a visit to San Francisco and Radio Row with Michael F. Florio next on The Fan Rochester.
was introduced today. Pete Carmichael Jr., Jim Leonard, and Jeff Rogers. Jim Leonard on his defense.
We're going to be an attacking defense up front, in the back end. We're going to attack the football. You know, that's the biggest stat in football is turnovers. So we're going to be aggressive. We're going to fly around. We're going to communicate. We're going to play well together, right? It is team defense, but we're going to cause issues for offense, and we're going to force them to react to us.
We'll go to Radio Row coming up next. Michael F. Florio, the Sick Podcast NFL Network. He will join us next year in the Sports Bar. Sabres play their final game before the Olympic break. Pittsburgh is the opponent, 7 o'clock for the coverage tonight here on The Fan. Olympics underway. The U.S. women's hockey team beating Czechia 5-1. Webster's Haley win a +3. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Pull up a stool and join us. 585-866-4FAN. 866-432-6. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Kelly Skipper will be back. Rob Boris will be back. Austin Gunn, DJ Mingus, Kyle Shermer, Millie Wilson. So working through a lot of those guys. There's Mark Lubick. My apologies. So still sorting through. We still got some work to do in the coaching staff.
New Bills head coach Joe Brady on coaches coming back to the Buffalo Bills as we talk to Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, the Sick Podcast, Bills Mafia. I want you to be our ears and eyes there at Radio Row, Mike, but I also want to get your take on everything that's gone on since we last spoke in the Bills announcement that Joe Brady will be the new head coach. Welcome into the Sports Bar.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it is a wild scene here. I stepped out of the craziness just to talk to you guys, so it sounds quiet here, but just below where I am, it is a madhouse right now. But the Joe Brady hire, I'll say this. When it first happened, my initial reaction was, don't love that, because I was like, you're keeping the GM, you're keeping the OC, the play caller, so nothing changes besides moving on from Sean McDermott. But in talking to a lot of people this week and stuff, some connected to the Bills, some just outsiders, it sounds like McDermott had more to do with the game planning week to week, depending on who was on the other side and stuff. So that if Joe Brady's able to now have total control over the offense, he's already said he wants more downfield passing, he wants to be more explosive. If they get back to that, because we know they can run the ball, right? And I don't, even though they need to rebuild the interior part of the O-line, I still think they're going to be able to run the ball effectively. If you could start getting those explosive plays with Josh going again and getting the ball downfield, stuff like that, now you're cooking with fire, right? Like, that has been the missing element the last couple of years. And it seemed like the Bills thought they could turn it on when they needed to, and we saw them be able to do that. But it's hard to ask not to do that on a regular basis, but then, we fall behind. Now we need you to go be explosive. So I want that back. I want the Josh Allen that we had a couple years ago paired with the rushing attack now. Like, that, to me, is the optimal version of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mike. I think that to use the NASCAR phrase, there was a restrictor played at times on this Bills offense. I guess my question is, well, I don't even have to ask you, do they have the personnel wide receiver? No, they don't. How would you go about, and you do the pod right with Stevie Johnson, so I'm sure he's got thoughts too. How would you go about reshaping that wide receiver room?
Yeah, I think Brandon Beane needs to be a man of his word this offseason, right? He said he is going to be aggressive. He said they know they need to address that wide receiver room. I think it is the biggest need. I think defensively they need to make a lot of changes as well, but the biggest glaring need that every fan, every media person is that wide receiver room. So if they don't address it, there's going to be a lot of issues for them and a lot of questions they're going to have to answer and stuff like that. But obviously there's the big splash move, right? Like, I saw Justin Jefferson today on Up and Adams talking about Bills Mafia and knowing that he's wanted there. And there's A.J. Brown and DJ Moore, all of these big names. But I don't know if they're going to go that route. There's a very interesting couple of names in free agency. The one that I have most circled is Alec Pierce. I think he is everything this Bills offense is missing. He is a phenomenal downfield receiver, contested catch guy, gets open downfield with the best of them. But if you miss out on him, there's also someone like Romeo Doubs, who isn't quite to that level of an Alec Pierce, but we know he can stretch the field. He can win downfield. And these are two receivers that, yes, the market is – it might surprise people how much they get paid, but I think there's a lot of untapped potential there because they've been in very crowded wide receiver rooms. The quarterback play, especially in Indianapolis, has been up and down the last couple of years. So that's kind of held back their numbers. But when you watch those guys play, they can play. It's also a very deep wide receiver class. I haven't fully dove into it just yet. I start doing that after the Super Bowl, but I trust Daniel Jeremiah a whole lot. He is 11 of his top 50 prospects last he did it are wide receivers. So don't just sign someone, like they did last year with Josh Palmer and be like, we're good. Like, get younger there too. Get somebody in the draft early. That's what I would do, right? I would sign someone, a veteran, and I would draft a young player and just hope that it works, hope that at least one of them could break out here because you can't have another season like last year where there's games where you just even like Shakir was winning a lot, but the rest of them downfield, big chunk plays, they were few and far between. And when you have Josh Allen, you need to have that downfield presence going because that then makes life easier for James Cook and for Allen. It makes his legs even more deadly. So if you could just get someone that could stretch the field consistently and make defenses have to worry about someone taking the top off, good luck guarding the rest of this offense.
Does it give you pause, Michael, to hear about Brandon Beane maybe thinking about free agency at wide receiver, given the bad deals that the Bills have had with wide receivers at free agency, whether you're talking about Palmer or Curtis Samuel? I mean, I love the idea of them investing in the draft. I'm not as crazy about free agency. The idea that I know is the biggest long shot of them all, but the one that would make the most sense, that would immediately galvanize everybody again, would be to be a big swing going for a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., knowing that you just brought in his former wide receivers coach to be your new quarterbacks coach.
Yeah, no, I mean, so your first question, yes, I don't see how you could not have a little bit of trepidation when it comes to signing receivers because Curtis Samuel and Josh Palmer were given bags, right? Like they're both Curtis Samuel this past year was the sixth highest big cap hit. We know Josh Palmer got a bunch of money, and they were non-existent on the field. Like at one point in the year, they were like, Curtis Samuel, we're going to leave you here in case we need you, and that's why he was activated late in the year. Like when you're spending that kind of money, you can't have someone be a zero for so much of the season. But so it does make me nervous, but you have to strike still, I think. I think you can't say I've swung and missed in the past, so I'm not going to address that position again. But if Dean swings and misses again, there's no one else to blame, right? Like McDermott fell on the sword. We've seen a lot of coordinators in recent years also have to do all eyes are on Bean now. If they can't get this done and figure out the wide receiver position, all the fingers are already pointing at him, but at some point the seat's got to get hot enough where you're like, if you can't figure this out, someone else has to.
Yeah, one more on the receivers here because this is a guy that people have opinions yes or no on. Would you bring back Brandon Cooks?
I would. I think it's a good move, but that can't be the move. Like Brandon Cooks, especially at this stage in his career, in my opinion, is a contributor. He is someone that could still stretch the field. Not the best contested catch guy, never really was, but he still has that speed that he could get open downfield. But in the playoffs, it was like, all right, outside of Shakir, he's your top option. He cannot be that. I mean, I guess he could. The Bills have tried that already, but to me, that is far from ideal. So I think if you're bringing him in, it's to make him like the three. You have him and Keon as depth pieces there. Shakir as the slot guy. You need a number one out wide receiver that Josh knows if I'm under pressure or whatever, I could throw this ball up there and he can go get it. Because to be honest, I don't think the Bills have ever had a receiver like that, at least in the last few years since Josh has really broken out. Because Diggs was amazing, but Diggs isn't that I'm going to go, you could just put the ball up and I'm going to go get it type of receiver. That's what Keon was supposed to be for this offense, but I actually think Keon is better with the ball in his hands. So that's why I think Alec Pierce, and I know he's going to be in demand in this market, but he is someone that I think is an ideal fit for the Buffalo Bills this offseason.
Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, joining us here in the Sports Bar, Danger and Battaglia. He's at Radio Row. We're in the frozen tundra. Jim Leonard and Pete Carmichael were both introduced to the media today. And specifically with Leonard, Mike, I want to get your take on what you know about the former passing game coordinator, defensive passing game coordinator for the Broncos, current defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, and what that might mean for some of the personnel on the defensive side of the ball for Buffalo.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some pretty big changes. At least that's my hope. I know it's really difficult to completely revamp after your team in one off season, but I do think the Bills, because under McDermott there was a staple, right? They were largely undersized every year, especially up front. And I know like they were a little bit quicker than other teams, and they beat up on a lot of bad offenses. But when they would play other top offenses, like the D-line would vanish, and they would just get oversized. And I know Jim was saying that he wants to get more aggressive. They want to attack the ball. I think part of that is adding size to that D-line up front. I know there's rumors that Max Crosby could be available, very expensive, but like he would be a game changer for the Bills. What I keep saying though is I look, there's not one player that I'm like, this is who they need to get. But the Bills need some dogs, right, in my opinion, on the defensive side of the ball. Because the last few years, when teams have come to face the Bills, who is the player on defense that they're circling and they're like, that's who we're afraid of? There's no one. The Bills have talented players, don't get me wrong. They have guys that fit the scheme great and all of that. But there's no one that strikes fear into the opposing team's heart, right? Like, think about, I know I'm aging myself a bit here, but I always go back to that Cam Chancellor hit on Demaryius Thomas in the Super Bowl all those years ago. Like, that set the tone for the entire game. And we see plays like that, like, the Broncos have players like that you're afraid of. The Texans are loaded with them. The Jags are coming in. We're like, Josh Hines Allen is a beast. You got to watch out for him. The Bills don't have anyone like that, or they haven't at least. So that's what I want to see, right? I know with McDermott, they were bringing in high-character guys, and they were taking care of their own. It was draft them and then pay them and stuff like that. But I want some outsiders to come in here, and I want some people to get nasty and really put some fear, some hard hits into the opposing team, because and I'm just going to say it, I want less soft coverage, right? 3rd and 11 against Denver, playing 10 yards back to start. Like, I don't want that. I want more press. I want guys on the line who could play that way. And that's what the Broncos did. The Broncos played man at the highest rate all season, or top 2 rate all season long. The Bills have ever been more of a zone defense under McDermott. So I do think we're going to see players brought in because they just fit the scheme better. But I'm hoping they bring in some dogs who could just, finally, when teams come to play the Bills, it's not just, the offensive players you're worried about.
Michael F. Florio, he's at Radio Row, actually technically in the lobby outside, just so he can hear us a little bit better. Give us a sense, how do you envision this Super Bowl going? I mean, we haven't, compared to other years, we're knee-deep into Super Bowl talk, and this year, for various reasons, we haven't. And one is, it's the Patriots, it's the Seahawks, but here we are, the Thursday before the Super Bowl. Mike, how do you see this game playing out?
Yeah, I think part of that is because the Patriots, outside of Stephon Diggs, Drake May just started to become a name that people know. And then on the Seattle, they might have the best roster in football, but they have a lot of players that the average football fan prior to this season might not have. They know Sam Darnold, but no one is like, I need to watch Sam Darnold play, even though I think he's underrated now. But so I think that led to it. But what I'm expecting in the Super Bowl is, I think the Seahawks are just a superior team. I think they are so physical. Drake May actually, in the next-gen stats era, so since 2016, he has by far the worst playoff EPA of any quarterback to reach the Super Bowl. And Patriots fans were very loud in my mentions to let me know that it's because they faced all top defenses. Well, guess what? Seattle might be the best. If it's not them, it's Houston. And the thing about Seattle is, one, they're fully healthy. The first fully healthy team that Seattle New England is going to face in the playoffs. But then on top of that, not only do you have to worry about their offense, and I do think they'll be able to put up some points against that Patriots defense, you got to worry about their defense being one of the best scoring defenses in the league, and you got to worry about special teams because Rashid Shaheed, we've already seen him do it in the playoffs, is a game changer. So I think if the Patriots are going to win, we need to see a Drake May masterclass. I think if Seattle is going to win, they just can't, just take care of the ball, do your thing, and I just think their talent will win out. So I am picking Seattle. I think they're going to get it done. But the Patriots, weird things have happened, right? And Mike Vrabel is a great coach. They're going to be prepared for the moment. I think they're going to have some tricks up their sleeve. But ultimately, I thought Seattle and the Rams were the most talented rosters all year long. So I was going to pick whichever one of those two teams ended up making it from the NFC.
Michael LaFleur from NFL Network, our guest in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. I think the Sam Darnold story arc is just so fascinating, and I'm sure everybody there is talking about it to the point of being sick of talking about it. But to think that this was a guy that was discarded to the scrap heap and was labeled a bust prematurely, I guess I keep going back, Mike, to Minnesota letting him walk after a 14-win season because of a couple of bad games down the stretch. Seattle reaping those benefits, albeit with a stinker or two in there from Darnold through the course of the season. But, that's the kind of move, it turns out, in Minnesota that gets your GM fired as well.
Yeah, and the reports are that KOC, who I think is a fantastic coach, wanted to keep Sam Darnold and didn't really want to move forward with J.J. McCarthy. And I was very surprised. Look, we all know it's the truth, but to hear Justin Jefferson this week be like, yeah, we would have been a lot better with Sam Darnold is very telling. And it tells you what they think of their current quarterback. So I agree that Sam Darnold, like him, there's guys like Baker, Geno Smith, right? The quarterbacks that were they were written off and their team gave up on them. It shows that, in my opinion, a lot of what, if a prospect hits or not, comes down to the team and the offense and the coaches and everything. And the Jets put him in no position to succeed. Neither did Carolina. But once he got to San Fran, he became a different quarterback. And then we know what happened in Minnesota. But even after that year last year, he had those 2 bad games to end the year. And people were like, I don't know. And then there was a report this week that Seattle was trying to keep Geno Smith. And when he didn't accept the contract restructure, that's when they said, all right, we'll just get younger and cheaper and go with Sam Darnold. So he wasn't even plan A for Seattle. Jeez. If that report is true. And here he is now in the Super Bowl. And yeah, there are lots of games this year where he doesn't really put up huge numbers and Seattle wins because they're just so talented and they could beat you in so many different ways. But they don't need him to be Josh Allen, right? They just need him to not lose you the game, hit the open receivers, go through your progressive, take care of the ball. And if he does that this weekend, I think he's going to be the first quarterback from the 2018 class not only to make a Super Bowl, but to win one, I think.
So here's the list for MVP finalists. And Allen gets another nomination. I don't think he's going to get it. You've got Trevor Lawrence. You've got Drake May, Christian McCaffrey, Matthew Stafford. Who would your vote go to for the MVP tonight, and who do you think is going to actually win?
So, by the way, I have 2 standards, right? By my standard, I would give it to Matthew Stafford. He played the best, in my opinion. He put up the biggest numbers, all of that. By the way the voters, though, have voted in recent years, I'd argue that Drake May should win because he did it with less. He was a top 2 seed, which historically, in the last 20 years, Peyton Manning is the only quarterback to win it without being a top 2 seed. So that, to me, if they stick to history, Drake May should be the one that wins. But I would be giving it to Matthew Stafford this year. And I do think that is ultimately who wins. But I'll tell you this, up until the final few weeks of the season, I was making the case for Josh to be the MVP because he was, you talk about doing more with less. I mean, there was times where he was out there and it felt like it was just him. If he didn't put the cape on, he wasn't going to win. But you go ahead, you get an Alec Pierce or another stud wide receiver, Josh should start making room in his trophy case for another one of those.
And what about Offensive Player of the Year? Do you have a lean on that one? I mean, to see May in that one, I mean, you got plenty of guys. I'm kind of surprised that James Cook wasn't one of the nominees for Offensive Player of the Year, too.
Yeah, that felt like a snub. Here's my take. I don't think quarterback should be nominated for Offensive Player of the Year because no non-quarterback is going to win MVP. So Offensive Player of the Year should be non-quarterbacks. But my vote, it's a 2-man race for that one as well, in my opinion. I think it's between JSN and Puka Nacua. But I would go with JSN because, one, Sean McVay is an absolute genius, and he's going to scheme up his wide receiver one for great. Like, literally, as of today, JSN could jump into it, but the top 2 most yards by a receiver in history and counting the playoffs, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Like, McVay is a genius. Matthew Stafford is great. You have Devontae. You have a top O-line there. When Seattle, especially early in the year before their run game got going, it was like, okay, they have JSN, they have a couple of tight ends, and that's it. And JSN still, like, historically, it is the highest percentage of a team's receiving yards for a player in the Super Bowl in history. Like, to me, what he just did this year is super special. I was actually on my pod today making the case that you could say this is the second best receiving season ever behind Cooper Kupp's Triple Crown year, statistically at least. So I'm going with JSN for Offensive Player of the Year.
See, I don't know if Danger and I would be ready for Radio Row because I would be just too starstruck. I would be like, everybody. Has anybody like, whoa, look, there's so and so. Who have you seen here? Name drop for us here a little bit, Mike.
Today is the craziest day of them all. Like Bryce Young, Jaden Daniels, Ryan Fitzpatrick is walking around here. Me and Stevie are trying to get him for an interview. He's been doing a lot of interviews. We're still hopeful we can land him, but you name them. Rob Riggle was just walking. To me, the ones that get me are the non-football players, right? Because you expect to see NFL players here at Radio Row. When you see like an actor or someone like that, I'm always like, oh, well, I didn't expect to see him here or her here. Like, that's really cool. But football player-wise, you name them, they're probably Donovan McNabb was walking around, Shannon Sharp, Ocho, like you name them, they're probably here. And if they weren't here today, CMC was here yesterday, Mac Jones. Like it is. You do tend to get a little bit of like a whirlwind going because everywhere you turn around, you're like, oh, I had you on my fantasy team, or I watch you every Sunday, something like that. So it is a really cool experience, and hopefully next season we could get you guys out here, and hopefully next season we get the Bills out here.
God, that would be something, right?
Yeah, well, that's in your backyard, right? Los Angeles? Like where?
I will be there, rain, sleet. Well, it doesn't rain or sleet or snow in L.A., but I'm there either way.
Where do they do Radio Row in L.A.?
It's done in the convention center, so it's in downtown LA, right next to it's now Crypto Arena. I call it Staples still, but
whatever,
it's right there.
Okay.
Michael F. Florio, our guest here, live from Radio Row in San Francisco. Tell us a little bit about what you and Stevie are working on the Sick Podcast while you're there.
Yeah, we're going to be releasing some mini episodes. We recorded one yesterday about all the new coaching changes. We recorded one today about Stevie and Fitzpatrick and their relationship. We got DeMar Hamlin yesterday. We have one with Mitch Morse dropping soon. Like there's a who's who of big names that we're grabbing and stuff, and just lots of might be a couple more that we get today and tomorrow, but a lot of people that are very interested in talking about the Bills and what they have to do because everyone knows how close they are. And so it's very interesting to talk to people and be like, what tweak do they have to make to get over the hump? Because everyone has their own thoughts, but people clearly – I think sometimes it's a little cynical of us Bills fans. We're like, we haven't been there yet. Is it ever going to happen? The approach from everyone I'm talking to here, the attitude at least, is like, you're still going to get one with Josh. So that gives me a little bit of reassurance.
Yeah, we can only hope. Michael, enjoy the rest of the week. Let's still keep in touch with you as hey, we're headed to the Combine. We're going to hear a lot about free agency. Certainly we're going to have a lot of Bills news, a lot of fantasy news, and love having this relationship with you, bud.
Yeah, anytime you guys want me, I'm there.
Appreciate it. Michael F. Florio joining us from Radio Row. See him on the NFL Network. Hear him on the Sick Podcast with Stevie Johnson.
Nick Fitzy Stevens next hour, where we will get the New England perspective of it. But if you're not familiar with Fitzy, I mean, guys in our business that are funnier than that guy. I mean, he had the take of the year.
He's our take of the year winner in 2025. Yeah. Yeah, we like Fitzy. He's got that New England arrogance, but he's got a self-awareness as well. He's a lot of fun. God, I'm distracted. Windhorse is on the TV.
I was telling you, yeah.
He looks like the sky with shoes.
It's a bad look for Windhorse because they're having him do a stand-up. And look at the back of his jacket. His shirt is hanging out. No one is telling. Tuck in your shirt, dude.
Sloppy.
Yeah.
We'll get to Fitzy. Sorry, I'm distracted. We'll get to Fitzy. We'll get to your calls if you want to join us. 866-4FAN is the phone number, 585-866-4326. And we'll hear from the new coordinators, from Jim Leonard, from Pete Carmichael. We're gonna review some of their audio from earlier today when they met the media. Coming up next on The Fan Rochester.
And W239BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
The three new Bills coordinators introduced today. Pete Carmichael Jr. on offense, Jim Leonard on defense, and Jeff Rogers on special teams. Carmichael talking about his new offense.
You know, I did this a lot of years with Sean Payton, where he was the play caller for the majority of the years. But I think the main thing is when you talk about things that might come up with the head coach that he's got to deal with and he's not able to be in the room, that the message that he wants portrayed, whether it's to the coaching staff, the team, whoever, that I'm portraying the exact same message that he would want the players to hear.
We'll talk some Super Bowl coming up later. Nick Fitzy-Stevens, WEEI, joining us here in the Sports Bar. Sabres play their final game before the Olympics tonight. Pittsburgh is the opponent, 7 o'clock for the coverage here on The Fan. Olympics underway. The U.S. women's hockey team scoring a 5-1 win over Chechnya. Webster's Haley Wynn was +3. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, The Fan, Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Ambers. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Welcome back into the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia, glad you're with us. Thanks for listening. 95.7 FM, AM 950. Find us in the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps, and also streaming live on our YouTube channel and Twitch. Like and subscribe at The Fan Rochester. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
So how many games in London have ever been divisional games? Have we ever had a divisional?
I don't think so.
Yeah, this is what kind of strikes me. So we knew the Rams were going to go over to Melbourne, which they're going, right? And that's coming up. And I don't have a date for you.
We know the Saints are going to Paris.
But now we know who the Rams' opponent is.
Oh, for Australia.
They're taking the Niners.
Okay.
So that's not okay. That's not.
We did
Jets
have
Dolphins. That's a primo matchup.
We did have last year Chargers Chiefs in Brazil.
Yes,
that was last year.
That's good. Yeah.
So maybe they're saying, okay, early season, let's knock Australia out of the park. Week 1 division game.
Yeah, and you, therefore, if we're sending two teams over from the same division, they can't bitch about having a disadvantage. You're both going.
Right. It's a long trip for both of them. It'd be a longer trip if you were, say, going to send a Midwest team. Hell, even Vegas. Like if you were to send Vegas, they would complain about the extra travel time. So that's interesting. No, I don't hate it. It is what it is. This is the NFL. 9 international games, right? We're going to get up to 9 this season.
9.
It's almost like Roger Goodell listens to the show.
9 times.
It will be a Rams home game, but I don't say this really tongue-in-cheek, though. Are the Niners really losing a road game here? Because every time I see Niners-Rams, it seems like there's more red.
What do you mean? Whose house? Rams' house, Gino? I mean,
they're saying insistently.
Whose house? Rams' house. All those Rams fans, let's see how well they travel. God, gross. We'll be joined later this hour by Fitzy, Nick Stevens, WEEI, in Boston. We'll get his take on the Super Bowl, and if you know anything about Fitzy and when he comes into the sports bar, he brings it every time. Our 2025 Take of the Year winner, Nick Fitzy-Stevens, stopping by here in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it should be good. We have time for the calls at 866-4FAN, 866-4326. As we mentioned in the update, hey, the Olympics are underway, and I didn't get to watch much curling. We did have it on the studio a little while ago while watching the U.S. women win 5-1 over Chechnya. And how about Webster's Haley Wynn coming up with a +3 on the plus-minus scale? So that's a good start for her and the team.
Yeah. Anything on the arena? Did anybody have anything to say negative about the arena that it was a mess just a week ago?
No, haven't seen anything.
I think everything's going to be okay there, but certainly came down to the wire. All right. So we heard from the Bills' new coordinators, Jim Leonard, Pete Carmichael, Jeff Rogers, all speaking to the media today. And specifically with Jim Leonard and Carmichael, and you heard Carmichael in Gene's update, a little bit more on Leonard here, who's making it clear that the primary focus this defense is going to be to attack the quarterback. Water is wet.
Wow.
The sky is
You're
blue.
kidding.
Here's Jim
Wow.
Leonard.
Yeah, we're going to be aggressive. We're not going to be reckless, right? There is a right and a wrong way, in my opinion, on how to attack quarterbacks in the NFL, and that it changes a little bit week to week based on their skill set, and you have to play to the strengths of your players, right? We were able to do it a certain way in Denver. That may not be the way that it looks here, right? But you have to affect the quarterback, right? You have to try to change the comfort level of that quarterback. You got to be able to speed him up. You got to be able to slow him down. You have to be able to control the tempo of a game, right? And the number one way to control the tempo of a game is stopping the run, right? To force them into situations where the defense is advantageous, right? You're in an advantageous position as a defense. So firm believer in stopping the run to make teams predictable, try to make them be more one-dimensional, and that allows you to really force them to react to you. So that's where it's always going to start. I think that's great defense. And once you get into that element of the game where you're trying to attack the quarterback specifically, there's a lot of different ways to get it done. And we're going to piece something together that we feel like is going to be the right for this group.
Now, he was asked, because he was on that Denver defensive coaching staff, asked about the controversial catch that wasn't a catch.
It was a catch, Terry Pagula. It was a catch.
Well, Leonard made his thoughts clear. His quote, "It was not a catch. We caught it. Denver caught it that time. I'll have a different opinion here very soon. Once this season, to me, it's still the 25 season. That Super Bowl hasn't been played yet, so I still have a little bit of loyalty there. But ask me in another week, and I'll give you a different answer."
Oh, there you go. Way to move the goalpost there, Jimmy. Good job.
I think saying, yeah, it's a catch, we caught it, he had to catch himself a little bit and be like, oh, wait a minute, I'm talking to Buffalo people now. Yeah, next week, and you ask me, we got hosed. I'm with the old man.
This is the problem with NFL, like with the technology in real time. You couldn't argue that, but then we slow it down, and you get the still shot, and the still shot shows knee down, and it looks like he has control for a second. I don't know if it's not totally conclusive. Then you don't turn it over.
If you don't survive the ground.
Yeah.
I think about some of the greatest catches we've seen in postseason history. And now every time I see it, a great catch, let's take the Edelman catch against the Falcons, right? Or the Tyree catch, or whatever great moment you want to celebrate from a wide receiver in a big game. And every time I see it now, all I think to myself is, if Cooks just holds on to the ball a half second longer, if he just has a little bit more grip strength for just a half second,
well,
if he survives the ground, that's really what it comes down to.
That's it. And look, he does still have the separation, but if you bring him back next year, why do you think you would do any better? You would be settling. Honestly.
To bring back Cooks?
Yeah.
I'm not for it.
I'm not either.
I'm not for it. I think for what you did with you needed somebody that was a desperate measure. You didn't get anybody at the trade deadline. You could do worse. But no, I'm not. I can't.
No, and it wasn't a one-time thing.
Oh,
you had the Patriot game.
Yeah, he was inconsistent.
Yeah.
He was inconsistent for sure. Look, nice player in his prime, but certainly feels like, the end of the road. He'll land somewhere, I'm sure, but keep him away. Don't need him.
No.
NFL honors tonight. Knowing that our guy isn't going to win the MVP, is this a giant Francesa for everybody?
Oh, who cares?
Apparently, just judging now, Stafford's minus 900. So the train is going in that direction, which nobody should be upset that Drake May doesn't get it, right? Did May really have an MVP season, or was he just the quarterback of a team that won a bunch of close games?
Boy, that's interesting. I think I saw a clip of Mina Kimes earlier today defending her vote for Drake May. And it was a really strong argument that the defenses while you could argue that the Patriots' schedule was weaker than the Rams, the defenses were only slightly below, or only slightly below the strength of the defenses that Matt Stafford had to face. And the idea that Matt Stafford did it with arguably the best receiver in the NFL in Puka Nacua, arguably the best, well, statistically, one of the best running games in the NFL, and the Patriots didn't really have either of those things. She voted for May.
On FanDuel right now, yep. It's Stafford minus 900, Drake May plus 650. So it tells you what you need to know, right? Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year. Oh, Coach of the Year. Gino, I know that this is every year we talk about Coach of the Year. Like, okay, this is the award that's given to the team that exceeded expectations. Do you give Coach of the Year to a guy who guided his team to the 1 seed in the NFC? Do you give it to Mike Macdonald? Because I don't hear anybody saying Mike Macdonald should win Coach of the Year.
No, but it feels like this could be an East Coast bias thing. That, my gosh, look at the Patriots. They were 4-13, 4-13. What changed? Coach. Hey. And look, Vrabel's a finalist for that reason.
Yep.
But Danger, who was saying Sam Darnold, this is going to be great and everything else? Like, you go back a year when Buffalo went out to Seattle, that was a dead-in-the-water franchise. The Bills rolled up. Where were the 12s that day? They weren't home.
That's right. If you were to ask me right now, or at the end of the season when you're supposed to make these votes, because the postseason doesn't count for any of these, it would be the guy that got his team to the 1 seed. It would be Mike Macdonald.
But it's not going to be, though.
Nobody had that team going, winning 14 games and winning the NFC, getting the 1 seed in the NFC and winning the NFC. You think it's going to be Vrabel?
I'm thinking so. Yeah, I'm just seeing if I can get some some odds here. Vrabel right now minus 285, Macdonald plus 300.
So it's Vrabel's.
Yeah, Liam Cohen plus 1,800. Which,
okay,
he did a good job too. Usually, though, it goes to you don't get Super Bowl coaches in this, though. Usually it's to the coach of a team that was downtrodden. And granted, that's...
Oh, you have a few of them in there.
Yeah.
Believe me, you could go with Cohen. You could go with Ben Johnson. Kyle Shanahan did one hell of a coaching job considering how injured that team was through the course of the year. But, if it's Vrabel, fine. Okay. The Patriots win again. Gross. And then the other one that I think if I were to pay attention to anything, the senior player, coach, or contributor for the Hall of Fame. Coming down to Kenny Anderson, Roger Craig, L.C. Greenwood. We know Belichick and Kraft aren't getting in. So Anderson, Craig, or Greenwood. I got to go Roger Craig. I can't believe Roger Craig's not in.
The word is that he got in, though. I've seen a report that he got in.
Okay.
So I looked up McDermott. McDermott never won, but he did finish second one year.
Oh.
That was the 2020 season, which, if you remember that season, Bills win the division. That's the game where Taron Johnson, the pick
Who won it that year? Stefanski?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, that award always feels like, oh, we're giving it to the team that exceeded expectations more than anything. And yeah, let's face it, the Patriots, you're excited that they got Mike Vrabel, but you didn't know that they would be in the Super Bowl. Nobody had this Super Bowl in the preseason. No. Nobody had this Super Bowl. We haven't done our bold prediction recap yet.
No, we can save that to, oh my gosh, next week when we have no football.
In talking about the new coordinators today with Leonard and Carmichael, Jeff Rodgers, Joe Brady also announcing today, by the way, that running back coach Kelly Skipper will be back for the Bills. Tight end coach Junior Jimmy, Rob Boris, he'll be back with the Bills as well.
So, yeah, we still don't have the full coaching staff kind of rolled out. Do people really care, though, about anything beyond the coordinators? I'm not so sure. Maybe the quarterback coach.
I think a running backs coach makes a difference. I'm very fascinated. When Eric Bieniemy last season as the Bears running backs coach got what he got out of DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai, now going back to Kansas City, going back to be the OC, I I do think that there is something to that. And as far as quarterbacks coaches go, I think it's a case-by-case situation. How involved is the OC? How involved is the head coach?
Maybe the offensive line coach, because when you see something improve, I think Cromer, you can point to, okay, that looks different, and now that Cromer is going to be gone. But then again, yeah, the Bills led the league in rushing. Yes, they allowed 40 sacks for Josh Allen, and the Deion Dawkins little slip back there when we talked to Matt Perino yesterday. Perino bringing up the point, or Tuesday, I should say, that, wait a second, maybe this is the time to explore, do we really want to move on from Deion Dawkins at this point? That would be certainly controversial, but Dawkins is out there, by the way, kind of making the rounds there in Radio Row and everything else. I don't think he's worthy of the Protector of the Year award that's going to be awarded tonight.
No, he did a great job getting the Protector of the Year award on the ballot, but no, not his best season. And do we have the nominees for Protector of the Year? I guess that's one that I'm missing on my list of
thought
nominees.
They should, announce this. Okay, yes. Okay, so Garrett Bowles, Aaron Brewer is the center in Miami. See, this goes to the point. Do you really know offensive line play?
Bowles would be one, just off the first two names you mentioned, I would say Bowles, yes.
But Brewer, no. That's the one I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't realize he had that. Creed Humphrey, okay.
Oh, he's good.
Quinn another guard from Denver. I should know his pronunciation. Penny Sewell, I know. Joe Thuney.
Oh, Joe Thuney.
There we go.
Thuney is an Avenger. He just wins everywhere he goes. He is the secret to unlocking success on an offensive line, whether it was New England, Kansas City, or last year in Chicago. He's really, really good. But Bowles feels like, well, I'd love odds on that one too. I bet you, is it Bowles? Is it Thuney? Creed Humphrey is really good.
What's interesting about this, it's a panel of former offensive linemen that are making the choice. Yeah, everybody from Jason Kelsey to Orlando Pace, Will Shields, Andrew Whitworth, they're all on this. So
Thuney. Maybe Bowles. I'm torn. I'm torn on that one.
I'm going to go with Bowles.
Here's why I'd say Thuney. And this is not me being biased, but I watched a lot of Chicago Bears football for the last few years, and that offensive line was horrific. Horrific during the Trubisky/Fields eras. Thuney made him respectable.
You don't even have to get that. There was a game last season against the Colts where
it's like three of them are on their backs. They were terrible, and Thuney absolutely stabilized everything on that offensive line. That's my guy. But Bowles is nice too. That guy can play. Humphrey can play. Interesting.
I want to read you the quote here from Kelvin Sampson. I just find this funny. Maybe this would be take of the year, but they get blown out by UCF, Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson. Here is Kelvin Sampson's quote. "We have a very poor athletic department. We're poor. We were poor when I got here, and we're still poor."
Is he talking financially poor
we
or poor
probably
performance?
have the lowest budget of anybody in Power 4.
There it is.
The way our recruiting is going, we have to stop at some point because we don't have the money to keep bringing in players.
Okay.
Houston's revenue right now, $78 million. Doesn't sound poor to me, but then again,
coach needs to show up at more luncheons and dinners and shake some more hands and get some more boosters, I guess.
If you are comparing yourself to the Longhorns or any of those other big programs down there.
Right. You're kidding. The University of Houston doesn't pull the way Texas would pull?
Houston's in the top 10, so it's kind of surprising that a head coach.
They're in the top 10 for a collective?
For just in rankings right now.
Oh, in
Houston
rankings.
is always there. Get there, but for a head coach to, things are winning, hey, boosters, we're poor. You want us to continue to win games? Open up that checkbook.
So he's looking into the crystal ball and seeing what the future holds, and it ain't going to be bright. It ain't going to be pretty.
Okay.
I thought he was talking about performance for a second there, Gino. Shocking. What am I thinking? Of course he's talking about money.
No, that would be Adrian Autry. We're poor. It's like both the money and on the court.
You can't miss. Just say you're poor. We're a poverty franchise. We got to get to Fitzy. Nick Fitzy Stevens.
Yes.
You can hear him on WEEI. Joins us here in the sports bar frequently, and love having Fitzy on. We're going to watch jealously on Sunday with the Patriots back in the Super Bowl, and Fitzy being the arrogant New Englander with a little bit of self-awareness. He'll lay it all off for us here next. Can't wait. Nick Fitzy Stevens on the way here in the sports bar. Danger and Battaglia on the Fan.
update.
Today's the day the Bills introduced their new coordinators, Pete Carmichael Jr., Jim Leonard, and Jeff Rogers. Leonard on his defense.
We're going to be an attacking defense up front, in the back end. We're going to attack the football. You know, that's the biggest stat in football is turnovers. So we're going to be aggressive. We're going to fly around. We're going to communicate. We're going to play well together, right? It is team defense, but we're going to cause issues for offense, and we're going to force them to react to us.
We'll talk some Super Bowl coming up next. Nick Fitzy Stevens, WEEI, will join us here in the Sports Bar. Hockey tonight here on The Fan. The Sabres and Penguins final game for Buffalo before the Olympic break. Our coverage will begin at 7. About the Olympics, U.S. women's hockey team. Today they beat Chechnya 5-1. Webster's Haley Wynn was a +3. NBA trade deadline has passed. The Milwaukee Bucks did not trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader. The Fan, Rochester.
Straight up with no chaser. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Welcome back into the Sports Bar, Danger and Battaglia. We check in with our favorite child, and we're here to take our medicine, Gino, as Fitzy, Take of the Year winner in 2025, is back in the Sports Bar the week that his Patriots are looking to climb that mountain again and be Super Bowl champions. Fitzy, welcome back into the Sports Bar.
Oh, gentlemen, thank you so much for having me. And please, it is my pleasure. Greetings and salutations to you from the land of entitlement, obnoxiousness, and elevated championship expectations, where even though it feels like we live on the ice planet Hoth from The Empire Strikes Back these days, and now I know what it feels like to live in Buffalo, I got to tell you, warm hearts, Super Bowl feelings, can't lose.
Does this feel like found money?
Oh, my God. You want to talk about putting on a pair of jeans that was in the bottom of the closet for like a couple of years, and you found them, and you're like, oh, my God, there's a Benji in the back pocket. How about that, huh? It's a pleasant surprise. But I will say that everything that this team has done over the course of the year, and yes, I know, I'm sure a lot of people have put stock in the Cam Newtons, the whole fool's gold, middle of the mall, cubic zirconia crowd. Patriots have gotten extremely fortunate with banged-up Chargers and C.J. Stroud playing in the remnants of the Belichick weather machine, and then Bo Nix with the broken ankle and Sean Payton's brain farts as head coach. And now, of course, a Seattle Seahawks safety, Nick Emmanwori, hey, I'm not going to worry about it, gets hurt right before things kicks off. I get all these stars have aligned for them, but I got to tell you, these guys have done something that has made the region rally around them in ways that almost feel like it's Belichick and Brady days, if not beyond. I mean, like, Drake Mania has absolutely swept wild through Massachusetts, New England, and Patriots Nation. It's unbelievable the way that Pats fans have embraced this guy, his pocket-sized American doll bride, and just everything that Mike Vrabel is doing with this team.
Before we talk about the game and Drake May and his pocket size.
Let's be completely honest. She's a wee little thing, but she's awesome. Have you seen what's happened with her TikTok baking thing, Bakesmith, and now she's a TV star? I swear to God, if the Pats win the Super Bowl, Bakesmith is going to be a holiday.
Fitzy, before we talk about the game, speaking of pocket-sized child brides, Belichick gets snubbed. It sounds like Kraft is going to get snubbed, and I've seen is this punishment for a dynasty? Talk to me about how people are feeling about Kraft, his failed campaign to get into the Hall of Fame, and the Belichick snub from last week as well.
I think people are disappointed for Mr. Kraft because he's been eligible for 14 years now, and you think about some of the other owners. There are 16 owners in total that are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and this raises doubt, concern, and question over the process, and should owners go in overall, and should they be going in at the same time or on the same ballot as coaches, as players as well? Should they have their own whole separate thing? Just think about it. Like, under his stewardship, 30-plus years, 11 Super Bowl appearances with 3 different coaches, all the work he did on the TV deals, the revenue, keeping the Patriots there, obviously finding a way to negotiate deals with Brady and keep him and Belichick together, which may have been his greatest skill. And also, like, the move that he made, realizing he made a Titanic error with Gerard Mayo writing multiple checks that had lots of zeros at the end of them, only to bring in Mike Vrabel. I mean, if that's not enough to get you into the Hall of Fame, I don't know what is. And then you compound that with Belichick not being a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer, let alone a first ballot Hall of Famer, period. I mean, just the rage and jealousy and the petty spitefulness of the Tony Dungy's and the Bill Polians of the world. Like, you give me a Jeff Bezos-built Blue Origin rocket that I can fire directly into the sun, and you can tell me that I can only put 5 people in there. Bill Polian is out of my mouth before 4 other people. Get him out of here. I mean, it's just it's gross. This is what's made. I'm sure you guys absolutely just love this too. But this is what's made all of the New Englanders and obnoxious Pats fans and the mouthy massholes go up to their closets and grab their hate us 'cause they ain't us and New England versus everyone merch that we thought we wouldn't have to wear again after the fake football farce that was Deflategate. And, now everyone's getting all mad about it. And now poor Jordan has had to plan a quinceanera for Bill this week just to make him feel better. I mean, she's throwing him a super sweet 16. She doesn't know what to do with herself because Bill didn't get in the Hall of Fame. Now she's had to, return all the patches and merch that she was going to buy from Canton. And, Bill is home getting ready to go, 7-5 this fall with UNC. And the Pats are going to the Super Bowl. Last time the Pats were going to the Super Bowl, Jordan was, graduating from Bayside High and dating Zach Morris. So, I mean, her world is completely upside down right now.
What's going to happen on that evening in August where they do have the Pro Football Hall of Fame inductions? Does Jordan have a party? Is there some sort of engagement party? I'm just trying to wonder how, she'll hijack, the messaging that night.
My guess is that she'll probably lead a protest outside of Canton that night. Or you know what she'll do? She'll commission another documentary. She'll work with Amazon MGM Studios. From the people who brought you Melania comes Belichick. She'll put that out and she'll have a screening down the street from Canton on the night of the Hall of Fame. Look, it's a shame that the guys that are likely to get in. Like, here we are talking hours before the NFL honors where we find out Rookie of the Year, MVP, Coach of the Year, and the whole Hall of Fame class. And, the L.C. Greenwoods and Roger Craigs were legendary legacy all-time players who deserve to go in. And everyone else that goes in, likely Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, whoever else is part of this particular class, they all deserve their shine, and they don't deserve to have the stank, and the cloud of unpleasantness of like, oh, those guys went in the year that Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick didn't go in, so that's how they'll always be remembered. It's really a shame. It is. It's like I'm with Stephen A on this one. It's Hall of Shame worthy. And I'll say this: if Tom Brady doesn't go in, unanimous first ballot, we ride to Canton, and I will be carrying the oil torch, and we will burn that place to the ground like the Jedi Temple.
I was just going to ask you that question because, honestly, if they're going to use the logic that, hey, there is this mark against Belichick for Spygate or whatever it is, like, honestly, you can't do that same thing to Brady, could you?
Listen, if you want to keep Tom Brady out of the Hall of Fame, for forgetting to say that he was rooting for the Patriots this week when he made his comments about what dog he has in the fight in Super Bowl 60, that's fine with a couple of feisty Foxborough fans back home. But no, you can't keep Tom Brady. I mean, how farcical does it look? How silly does your Hall of Fame look if you literally have one of the most influential owners, the greatest coach since they merged the AFL and the NFL, and then the greatest quarterback, if not the greatest player of all time, all in his first ballot, guys. I mean, at this point, then you're just going to have a bunch of Pats fans, running around saying, like, I don't care about the Hall of Fame. I just care about the Patriots Hall of Fame. Canton doesn't exist to me. And then a bunch of other fans will probably just, like, start to see it as the sham that it's ultimately becoming as well. So let's hope their senses come about them in a couple of years when Brady comes on the ballot.
All right, Fitzy, so you talked about Drake Mania sweeping New England by storm. I'm curious about his shoulder. I'm curious about how he's feeling, and I'm curious about your take of how he's performed this postseason. A little careless with the football, maybe taking some hits that he normally didn't take during the regular season, yet still making plays with his legs. I think he's critical, obviously, if the Pats have any chance. And we haven't really seen him throw a football this postseason.
Yes, one and many are concerned with the right shoulder of Cracker Barrel Josh Allen, and I understand why, because he just hasn't looked like himself. I mean, he completes the regular season with the highest completion percentage, 72%, setting all sorts of records and, the unique anomalous statistical accomplishments that he had each and every week all throughout an awesome season that has him as an MVP finalist. Like, it's crazy. And then, his first postseason, he's finding out that the test gets a whole lot harder. But when you go up against the elements, it was colder than Hillary Clinton's election night party the first time that they played the Chargers back in January, and that defense was for real. Then you play the Texans, and there's just a wintry mix of nor'easter swirling through the stadium, plus that's the best defense in the NFL. Then you go to Denver, and you take on another top 5 defense, and it starts off Rocky Mountain High, and then a nor'wester sweeps through in the second half. Plus, you've got a face full of Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, Nick Bonito, and Khalil Mack the entire time. Yeah, you're probably not going to put up Tecmo Bowl or fantasy football numbers. Now, the shoulder issue, some in Boston have reported that it's been lingering for a little while, but it was never enough to get him on the injury report. Well, the guy, Ufanga, the safety, lands on him and folds him like a broken beach chair. And yeah, he probably did have like a little bit of an AC joint sprain or something that merited a little time off and an injury report. But the designation as of the pool injury report on Wednesday was full participant. So Pats fans are right back in it and ready to go. Now it's just a matter of, can he handle this new Legion of Boom Part 2, the dark side, as they're starting to call it, because that Seattle defense is ferocious, and I do have my concerns about the Pats' offensive line.
Fitzy, I know we have a few more minutes, and I have to ask for your perspective, because when the Bills made the move to McDermott and the subsequent press conference where Terry Pagula, the owner, starts to speak, Danger and I both had texts like, that's your owner? What's going on? It's like we had this family secret that was out in the open. Like, yep, here's the dysfunction in Western New York on display. From where you sit, what did you make of the move from McDermott to that press conference to the hiring of Brady here?
I mean, I figured at this point, moving on from – isn't it crazy how many different coaching moves have swayed just by like a single – by like a single move, like there was that meme that went viral of like – Baltimore missing the field goal at the end of the regular season where like it said like, if the field goal went down the middle, Mike Tomlin fired either, or like if it went down, or Harbaugh fired. And then like with you guys, if Brandon Cooks just is able to survive the ground and maybe hold on to that ball for like a second more, Sean McDermott doesn't get fired. You guys then ride to Foxborough the next week for the AFC Championship that we were all hoping for in the first place. And who knows, maybe Josh is able to ride the Wambulance from Buffalo to Foxborough and maybe play his way into his first Super Bowl. But instead, sadly, Denver wins, McDermott gets fired, and then Terry Pagula puts on a press conference that even Larry David cringed at. It was. Oh, my God. I mean, I personally just sat there with my popcorn enjoying every single second of it. It was like watching some sort of like wild independent. It was like watching it was out of like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, like out of like an independent movie where it's like, all right, and whatever you do, don't let Grandpa get into the brown wine. And next thing you know, someone accidentally gives him the spiked eggnog, and he's just going off, and you're like, okay, can we say less, Pops? Holy smokes. And how's Keon Coleman doing? I know he was no angel, no saint, and, not the first guy or first guy in and last guy out of the building this year, but, like, he's still on the active roster to just get thrown under the bus and then have it back up and run over you several times and then have somebody, also then bring in the salt and sand truck right after. Woof, that was rough.
Fitzy, with that move and with the other moves in the division, with the other moves in the conference, I mean, this does set up. If you're a Patriot fan thinking, you know what, we're set up for the next 3, 4, 5 years, we could have another run at the dynasty. I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. And I guess my question is, how quickly into the off season is Max Crosby playing for Mike Vrabel?
Oh, I know. Oh my God, this must just be so awful. You guys, I mean, just to like, oh great, the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl. Oh good. Oh Oh, everyone wants to play for them now too.
They have the cap
they have
space to afford everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel. Whether or not he decides to cut his junk off if he wins the Super Bowl or not, I'm gonna wish I cut mine off because I can't stand seeing them every year. Look. First off, as far as the hiring, by the way, of Joe Brady as well, like he seems like a really good guy. It seems like there's great emotional connectivity between he and Josh, and maybe this will be the change they need. Maybe this is the uptick in energy. Maybe McDermott had just sort of played it up against the wall, and they weren't going to go any further. Crazy Pagula, grandpa press conferences aside. But I wish somebody had sort of warned him that, like, when you have your introductory press conference and you do something that can, sort of land you on, in the wide world of memes or go viral for the wrong reasons, like Adam Gase with the crazy eyeballs, or Nick Sirianni just not knowing the English language, and now Joe Brady crying, like, people start sort of having too much fun with you before you've even called your first game. So it'll probably be a longer offseason, Josh's foot healing and everything else withstanding for Buffalo. And as far as things go with the Patriots, like, look, yeah, I mean, oh no, the Jets hired Frank Reich as offensive coordinator. Please excuse me while I try not to lose any sleep over that for the next 6 months. Jeff Hafley and the Dolphins, they're a little bit of a mess. And yeah, it's going to take a little while to see exactly what happens with Buffalo. So the Pats, unfortunately, are set up for potential long-term success. And even if the schedule does get more difficult next year, and even if they do land on everyone's radar and everything doesn't bounce their way, they have a really good chance to rebuild the Death Star and start another dynasty. And this is for a team, by the way, guys, that if they win on Sunday, obviously, they'll have the most Super Bowl wins all time. And if they lose on Sunday, they'll have the most Super Bowl losses of all time. But as the great Ed Rooney said in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, between grief and nothing, I'll take grief.
Well, if it makes you feel better, this feels like 0-1 to me. Like, honestly, how did the Patriots – wait, we won? Oh, hey, great here. And obviously we didn't know what Brady was at that time. I'm trying to picture – I'm bracing for what this will be like for Bills fans. We had to deal with – Hasek and O'Reilly and Jack Eichel, players we let go, and there they are hoisting a cup. That would pale in comparison to what I'm fearing, I'm actually predicting, will happen Sunday night with Stephon Diggs on the podium away from the Buffalo Bills and celebrating his championship.
Oh, my. And then all the things that he's done for the team this year, like, all the pregame speeches when he's like, ain't nobody like us, man, I like us, and that we got, we all we need, which is now turned into the rally cry and the mantra of Patriots Nation, so much so that, like, you had fans at the stadium at the send-off rally chanting it. It sounded like the First Order coming together in, like, that new Star Wars movie. My God, it was just crazy what kind of a lather he whips his teammates up into, and Patriots Nation as well. I got to say, like, eventually I'm sure the clock will expire. He'll turn into the locker room pumpkin in the sideline show that he's turned into before, or maybe not. But he has been awesome and worth all $23 million that he's getting per year on the deal. And you know what else? Maybe Cardi B was the secret sauce that kind of leveled him out, because she's been incredible too. Have you guys watched any of her social media post-game rants? And, like, she just comes unhinged and doesn't care at all what she says. It is that one where she told the 10 people on ESPN to, like, go to Tulum and, put them on Delta. Like, she was speaking, like, in tongues. She's an absolute savage. I love her.
Fitzy, we will be watching on Sunday like the rest of the world, and here in these parts, watching with extreme jealousy. Leading up to it, we'll be checking you out in the Odyssey app at WEEI. When are you on leading up to the game here? When can we get more of your coverage?
No, old Professor Humblebrag over here, now currently the host of the Six Rings postgame show. We might actually have to change it by the time we go live on Sunday night. Oh, God, I honestly would hate me too, guys. I really would. I would honestly want to treat me like an ashtray and a doormat if I had the chance. So I'm all over the dial this week helping out with the coverage at WEEI leading up to Super Bowl 60. Lots of Six Rings podcast as well, available on the Odyssey app. And Sunday Night Live right after Big Game 60. We'll be going live with the 6 or 7 Rings postgame show for your listening displeasure. I always appreciate you guys. You are my favorite rivalrous radio show and fan base to talk with, and I already have my tickets, popcorn, hot sauce beers, and cinnamon whiskey ready for the next installment of Josh Allen versus Timu John Elway. That is Drake May. Let's go, Pats.
Fitzy, thank you.
You're the best.
Timu John Elway. What else did he throw at us?
What did he call Drake May's wife?
Like a Polly Pocket?
Yeah. Like American Girl doll?
My God. The guy, you just wind him up and you let him go. The best. Love having Fitzy on with us, even though he's an insufferable Pats guy. Now, can we get your buddy Jay Binkley to take notes? That's how you come into the sports bar as an enemy. At least make us laugh.
Well, see, if we invited Binkley in, he'd be like, fellas, these teams still have a long way to go to Kansas City. By the way, Kansas City will be back next year.
Yeah, all he would do is try to feed us on some Chiefs propaganda. Yeah, Fitzy, when the Pats are down, he's down. He gets it. When they're up, he's gonna high step a little bit like he did today.
They've earned the right. He really didn't rub our face in it.
No. And think about it. Like, who isn't saying that press conference was a debacle? Everybody with eyes and ears knows that press conference was a debacle. An absolute debacle. I love that guy. Even if he is a chowd. Love having Fitzy on.
What does this look like for Diggs, though? How are we going to react? Can we take the high road?
Well, we have differing opinions. I'm not here tomorrow, so I'll tell you right now. I'm predicting that Seattle wins this game.
Okay.
I know you're going New England.
I think it's an ugly Super Bowl. Honestly, I would say 2017 New England. Like both these teams are not going to be making plays. We're going to be like, what are we doing? What is this halftime show? I just feel like everybody's going to be agitated Sunday night. Just how I see it.
The halftime show thing. We got to get over this thing, man. Like it's an impossible feat for the NFL to book an artist that will appease everybody.
So, because you're not familiar with the artist, you take offense to it. How is that?
I mean, honestly, I don't care who performs Super Bowl halftime. I'm not turning away from it. It's going to be on. It'll get our attention. We won't know any of the songs, but will the performance wow us? Yeah, I have a feeling it'll be a good performance.
Yeah, or you know what you're going to be doing? You're going to be eating or doing something. Or
you won't know any of the songs, but you might see something to be like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. Oh, that looks neat. Oh, that's a neat performance, whatever. But you can't, it's an impossible task to say, NFL, book, because the NFL isn't paying anybody to do this. They recognize they have the biggest promotional platform in the world.
All that being said, they will spin the halftime show as the reason for this. I'm going to make an easy prediction. Ready? Super Bowl ratings year over year will be down. Maybe big. And you don't have the Chiefs, the cachet. You don't have the whole Swiftie generation tuning in, just hoping for a glimpse of their favorite artist. There are a lot of things here working against. And again, America's not familiar really with Drake May. They don't really care about Sam Darnold. Like the star power of this game, we'll all watch it, but the numbers will be down.
It's almost as if the teams and the halftime show all blend together. It's a whole bunch of I don't really know. Well, Seattle? I'm not sure. New England? Don't know. Bad Bunny? What's a Bad Bunny? I don't know. We'll just watch the commercials, and there'll be some football on. America. I don't think that's a bold prediction. I think that's pretty spot on, Gino. We'll have those numbers next week, but I like Seattle. I like the Sam Darnold story. I like that defense. I can't bring myself to Mike Vrabel and Robert Kraft. I cannot bring myself to that. I cannot. Regardless, we'll be here on Monday to recap all the festivities. Gino's here tomorrow. I'm on assignment, and we'll recap on Monday.
You legitimately have an assignment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell where people are because I think you should be proud of this. Like, your morning show is going to be at Jiva.
They're
That's
doing
kind
a
of
live
cool-
show. Yeah,
That's cool.
they're doing a live show, and they need a sound producer, an executive sound audio producer.
You're going as Muscle. That's what you're going as. Like,
No, you know what? I didn't do theater in high school. I wasn't a theater kid. But even I know tomorrow I'm wearing black because I'll be off to the side in the wings of the stage, just kind of back there orchestrating things. Should be fun.
Is alcohol going to be on hand tomorrow night?
Maybe after the show.
Yeah, I would think.
Maybe after the show. It could start a series of downward spiral pretty quickly this week. And when I look at the forecast and know that Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday, whoo boy. Okay.
Well, yeah, tomorrow, and I'm bummed you're going to miss this because another one of our favorites from Radio Row, and I just want to go where the action is tomorrow. RJ Ochoa will be.
Oh, I love RJ.
Yeah, RJ's a guy.
All right, blogging the boys. Good stuff. We'll have happy hour next here in the sports bar. If you want to join us, feel free. Pull up a stool, 866-4326. Again, 585-866-4FAN. We heard from the new Bills coordinators today. We'll get to that next on The Fan.
know why we are the Fan Rochester. WROC-AM, WBEE HD2 Rochester. And streaming online and in the Odyssey app at the Fan Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Today was the day the Bills introduced their three new coordinators: Pete Carmichael Jr. on offense, Jim Leonard on defense, and Jeff Rogers, the special teams coach. Carmichael on his offense.
You know, I did this a lot of years with Sean Payton, where he was the play caller for the majority of the years. But I think the main thing is when you talk about things that might come up with the head coach that he's got to deal with and he's not able to be in the room, that the message that he wants portrayed, whether it's to the coaching staff, the team, whoever, that I'm portraying the exact same message that he would want the players to hear.
Sabres Penguins tonight at 7 o'clock. Our coverage here on the Fan Rochester. Final game for Buffalo before the Olympic break. Speaking of the Olympics, the U.S. women's hockey team gets a win today over Czechia, 5-1. Webster's Haley Wynn was a +3. NBA trade deadline is passed. No, the Bucks did not trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amers. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
It is happy hour. Welcome into the sports bar. Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're with us for the ride home at 95.7 FM, AM 950. The free to download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. And if you're mobile and you're watching us on our YouTube or Twitch stream, we appreciate that as well. Like and subscribe. At the Fan Rochester, I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
Yeah, it's a fun show we had today. And whenever we bring Fitzy on, you may despise the Patriots, but it's hard not to like that guy. Greg writing in to us. You can write to us, the Fan Rochester. He's at AKA Mike Danger. I'm at my name, Gene Battaglia. Greg writing in. I'll go on a limb and say Fitzy's a Star Wars fan. Great segment.
He dropped, I want to say, maybe 3 Star Wars references in our conversation with him. Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption, Greg. And I don't have a problem with it, by the way. This is the way. This is the way. Yeah, Fitzy's great. Florio was great as well. Michael F. Florio from NFL Network, who stopped by in the 3 o'clock hour, joining us from Radio Row to offer some insight. The Bills roll out their coordinators today to the media. We hear from Jim Leonard. We hear from Pete Carmichael, Jeff Rogers as well, all today. Was there anything that we heard or that we saw that's noteworthy or earth-shattering? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, if you are one that loves coaching cliches and just to get excited about that was today. We're going to be aggressive. No S. You better be aggressive, right? Like we're going to be, multiple on offense. Like things like that anybody could say. The real questions are about personnel. And these guys, They really haven't rolled up their sleeves yet. Ultimately, it's not their decision. They've got to work with whoever kind of comes in. And I'm just trying to figure out, all right, what is that exactly is Jim Leonard going to run? Is he going to stick with what he's run before, a 3-4? Will he kind of bend to the personnel that's here? Somebody brought up earlier, too, like, all right, we're used to, like, the Tampa 2. That's one thing I can kind of guarantee that, okay, the corners, you're going to play a little more aggressive. The safeties, you're going to be a little bit more aggressive. I mean, if you can find a guy, Danger, that can play along Cole Bishop, that can be really exciting for this defense.
Sure will be. Jim Leonard on attacking the quarterback.
Yeah, we're going to be aggressive. We're not going to be reckless, right? There is a right and a wrong way, in my opinion, on how to attack quarterbacks in the NFL, and that it changes a little bit week to week based on their skill set, and you have to play to the strengths of your players, right? We were able to do it a certain way in Denver. That may not be the way that it looks here, right? But you have to affect the quarterback, right? You have to try to change the comfort level of that quarterback. You got to be able to speed him up. You got to be able to slow him down. You have to be able to control the tempo of a game, right? And the number one way to control the tempo of a game is stopping the run, right? To force them into situations where the defense is advantageous, right? You're in an advantageous position as a defense. So firm believer in stopping the run to make teams predictable, try to make them be more one-dimensional, and that allows you to really force them to react to you. So that's where it's always going to start. I think that's great defense. And once you get into that element of the game where you're trying to attack the quarterback specifically, there's a lot of different ways to get it done. And we're going to piece something together that we feel like is going to be the right for this group.
Didn't say anything that you're going to hate.
No, it's all talking in circles, which that I'm not faulting. That's what you expect, but we're not going to kind of learn anything. The one thing Leonard did kind of talk about today, asked about the catch or the non-catch.
Right.
And he says it was not a catch. But then he couched it with, we're still in the same NFL season and not of respect to Denver.
Ask me next week when the season is over, and I'll have a different answer.
But I think the lesson there is, okay, now it's February 5th. Weeks have passed. Emotion has gone away. Reality set in. Are you still upset, Bills fan, about that? Or now that you look back, like, yeah, you know what? Maybe one play and not giving up 33 points. We're not turning the ball over for
it. Should never come down to one play.
Right. Like that's
why
it.
I hate. I know when I say this, I upset a lot of people, but I hate the officiating excuse. Yes, the officiating is wrong. Could they get it wrong? I don't know. By the letter of the rule, to my eyes, they got it right. Because to me, it didn't look like he survived the ground. But I hate the officiating screwed us. I hate that the owner of the team is speaking the language of losers.
Well, that's the part where I can't kind of add up in my mind. And when we talk to Fitzy, it's like, hey, isn't it crazy? Like all these moves are, like the wind blows a different way in Pittsburgh, and the Ravens kicker makes the kick, and actually Harbaugh stays. Like legitimately came down a lot of that stuff. But if Pagula was so mad about that, then you still ended up playing Coach. No, none of that adds up. I think the only thing, if I had to kind of put a bow on it, is, hey, you didn't really review that like you review a lot of other things. It was, the idea that, hey, you know what? We're holding up Fox here. Chop, chop. Get this over with.
Right. Yeah, that part is inexcusable. But, again, this is the NFL we're talking about. And they kind of control everything. They will do as they please. They will control their narrative, their time. They're a powerful brand, a powerful organization. Evil, you might even say. Straight up evil. And by the way, it all culminates on Sunday. When it culminates on Sunday, I mean, we're not really talking a lot about the actual game and what we will see in the game. There's a lot of little storylines around the game. Like, I forgot that Doug Marrone is a coach on Mike Vrabel's staff for the Patriots, if you wanted another reason to not root for New England.
Ugh.
And I forgot who the assistant coach is in Seattle, which makes me even want to root for Seattle more, because this guy has always been class. Leslie Frazier. Leslie Frazier got to a Super Bowl before Sean McDermott. Sometimes karma's a bitch.
Leslie Frazier was the fall guy for 13 seconds when he shouldn't have been. If the head coach said, this is the defense we're running, what is Leslie Frazier going to run up and fight him? Like, ultimately, because the players on the field make the play. Okay, but that coaching stupidity at the end of that game, since that point, like, if you were upset about McDermott getting fired, I get it, because, the way it was done, the timing, the press conference, all kind of clumsy. But you look at things along the way, 13 seconds, how he handled Diggs, the Peterman game. Like,
it's so fascinating to watch the life cycle of how our emotions dictate our feelings towards this specific person, Sean McDermott. He was the sympathetic figure after he was let go. And with each day that passes, whether it's a comment from a player like Alec Anderson, or, an article here or a story there, the more you start to hear, the more you're like, Sean McDermott maybe wasn't as great as he thought he was.
Translation, Danger, you should pay up. Pay up your box wine bet, buddy.
Oh, he's coming back.
He's not coming back.
He's coaching next year. The box wine bet It's on. He's coaching in the NFL next year. Head coach in the NFL next year. Sean McDermott will be back.
I love that this story is coming out Super Bowl week. Did you see this story from the legal paper here in regards to John Gruden's lawsuit against the NFL?
I didn't know about this, no.
Okay, so John Gruden's attorneys are going to seek testimony from Roger Goodell and others, as he is not dismissing his lawsuit for wrongful termination. Now, in his lawsuit, if you remember the whole story, just to kind of summarize, it's October of 2021, and this is has something to do with Daniel Snyder, and these emails with John Gruden get leaked. And look, there's racist language, there's anti-gay language, there's nothing that you can really defend. That's not acceptable. But he gets fired. Now, how did these emails get released? Well, that's what the lawsuit is all about. And John Gruden, who was held in high regard, now we look at him, and yeah, he's working for Barstool, and I don't know if he's ever going to coach again. But not only are they trying to dispose here Goodell, the list also includes, members of the Giants, Seahawks, Jets, former Washington Commanders owner Daniel Snyder, Raiders owner Mark Davis, Jerry Jones, and Robert Kraft. This is according to the filing for John Gruden's attorney that they want to summon all these people.
They need to get Jay-Z to testify.
Why is that?
Isn't Rock Nation the company that Jay-Z runs?
Yes.
There's a person for his company. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, you think that's
I'm trying to remember the Washington
yeah.
Post article that kind of laid out how the leak came from somebody within Rock Nation feeding it to the Washington Post because they had wind of these emails, or they wanted to get this guy out, that it was an actual hit on John Gruden's character and career.
The filing also names Rock Nation CEO Desiree Perez.
That's who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That if you're looking for the smoking gun, my money's on that one. On her leaking it, and her being the one.
How did she get these emails then?
How does Rock Nation and the NFL have a relationship? Because they book the artists for the halftime show. Is she a part of the NFL's network? Did somebody within Washington talk to her and tell her
who sent this, and then allegedly she dumps it on the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, boom, and the career of John Gruden's over.
I'll go back to the awesome words of Brett Musburger. This was a hit. This was a professional hit job.
First of all, as I told Coach, whoever took you out, John, that was a paid assassin. Okay, that was one of the best hit jobs that I've ever been around. Okay, they didn't go to their media goombas. They didn't leak this to Adam Schefter or one of those guys who break stories. They first went to the Wall Street Journal, and when Gruden was still coaching after that, then they dumped the rest of it on the New York Times. That was a professional hit job, but I want to tell everybody that I'm not completely sure it was somebody in the NFL. There was a second lawsuit involved, okay, between the owner, Snyder of Washington, and a former general manager. And that means that a lot of outside people had access to those emails.
That's my smoking gun.
Well, that's why this is fascinating to me, because what does the NFL always do? They settle. Here, come on in, and they don't want the publicity. They know they're not going to win, these things. And I look at the St. Louis lawsuit. Look, St. Louis was robbed of their team. They wrote him a big check. Okay, the problem's gone away. What about Colin Kaepernick? He stood up for things he accepted a check.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, here's the money, life-changing money.
You will go away, and we will not talk about you.
Yeah, that's why, for whatever it is you stand for, okay, you know what, you can be bought. Everybody has a number. Well, that number hasn't happened yet for John Gruden.
No.
So the one thing, again, despicable, okay? Don't misread what I'm hearing, okay? What I'm saying is,
right,
we're not racist.
Would it surprise you that Barstool is actually funding this lawsuit for John Gruden, funding John Gruden's ability to continue to pay his lawyers to go after the NFL.
Well, that's the thing. Like, this is going on a long time.
Right.
And there's no, you're doing this on your own dime. Gruden is doing everything. I want my reputation back. I want to win in the court of law.
And Gruden has money, but he's got additional money coming in now, working as a personality for Barstool. And it just, knowing the history of Barstool versus Goodell, I would imagine that Portnoy has something to do with Gruden getting his justice from the NFL.
Maybe. I think it's just a fascinating kind of story here.
Yeah.
Like the NFL usually gets their way on these things.
Yeah, he's not caving.
I don't want to. I want put Goodell. Like, let's hear him disposed. Let's. Where's Daniel Snyder and the Lady S boat these days?
Well, I don't need to hear from Snyder. I don't want to hear from him. Goodell would be interesting, but it's the Desiree girl from Rock Nation. That's the one. If you want to trace it all back, based on what Musburger said there, and based on how this all kind of went, lots of people had access to those emails, and one person saw it and got really, really offended. And she's not in the NFL, and she's an outsider, and she's probably very, very offended by the language being used. That guy's a racist. He needs to go. What are we doing? And that's it.
This was like at the height of cancel culture, right?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And look, we could have the debate as to whether or not that guy is a racist or that guy is a racist. I don't know. I mean, John Gruden was a coach for a lot of years, worked with white guys, black guys. Was he a racist? Did he treat black guys unfairly over white guys? I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what's in his heart. But I don't like that we throw that around as loosely as we do, that person's a racist because of that or that. Not excusing what he did. Not excusing that you put that in an email. Not his best moment. Not a smart thing to do. But I don't know.
Well, let me give you kind of another story here. And this was a well-respected broadcaster, Tom Brenneman, voice of the Cincinnati Reds, voice of NFL football, and they're coming back from break, and he makes the cardinal sin, right? The mic is always on. You don't know. And he says something, bam, you're done.
Says this homophobic slur, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. And all right, we can agree right then and there. It doesn't matter what's in his heart. You said it. It's like saying fire in a theater, okay? Doesn't matter. You know better, okay? That's the proof. You're fired. But he worked his way back. Now, he's not fully back with the Reds, but he's like calling ACC games. He's making a living. He's not back to where he was, but he paid the price. And you should be able to kind of go on, should you not?
Where would any of us be without a second chance? And I always say this, whether you're talking about a Brenneman or a Gruden, you know, if let's just say Brenneman, if Brenneman is a true homophobe, then the actual homophobes should be celebrating right now. If that guy's a homophobe, then the other homophobes are celebrating, because actual guys that want to wish harm, or actual racists that want to wish harm on the people that they're talking about. I mean, come on.
Well, I don't know, like, bringing the story up, what Gruden has done, you know, in the interim of all this. Has he met with groups? Has he met with people? But I can tell you, Brenneman did. Like, you said it, buddy. You got to pay the price, and you do things to show, okay, this is not really who I am. I don't know. Sometimes you're better off maybe like murdering two people. You don't even have to say allegedly, because he's not here anymore.
You're baiting me.
I would never do such a thing.
You're baiting me.
Never, because you know what? That crime to me doesn't seem as bad.
Imagine living in a world where murdering two people doesn't seem as bad as words in an email. Crazy.
Yeah.
Murdering two people. It's okay.
You're not doing it, are you?
Well, I haven't heard the cue yet. I'm you know. Hell, I don't need a cue.
Got it, Juice. When Chris and I broke up, the Juice was there for me every night. It's like he's not really the Juice anymore. We gotta get you dressed, Juice. Juice, a will? Juice. Come on, Juice. Juice! Juice, it's AC. Juice! AC's here! Juice, I heard Juice. It's on every channel. You know I feel the same, Juice. You're gonna tell them yourself, Juice. Juice? Juice, your whole family's here, Juice. She's on the house phone waiting to talk to you, Juice. Juice. Okay, Juice? Okay, Juice, we're good to go. You're home, Juice. You know Uncle Juice, and your Uncle Juice is a good man. He's never gonna stop being the Juice. It could explain a lot, Juice. Just hear him out, Juice. He's right, Juice. Listen, Juice. Juice, this is your life. Juice, please, Juice. Juice, we need an answer.
I don't know how we got here, but if you give me an opportunity to play every instance of David Schwimmer as Robert Kardashian in The People versus O.J. Simpson saying the word juice, I'm going to take it.
This is why we lose out to Grand Rapids and Louisville. Somebody, I'm from Barrett Media listening. What am I listening to?
You did look at the list, didn't you? You looked at the list.
I did not.
You absolutely looked at the list.
Grand Rapids? What?
No, I don't know.
I don't know. But they beat us one year. I know that. You told me today was Danger and I did not place in the top 20 mid-mark.
No, we didn't make. We got snubbed. We didn't make the top 20. Number one on the list, the guys in Pittsburgh. We know.
Oh.
That's our Odyssey Sports Sister station, so a little bit of pride there, I suppose.
Look, I would also say it's probably a little easier to do a show when you got 3 major league teams as opposed to 0, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Filippone's a good dude. He, from what I hear, Buffalo guy who went to Pittsburgh, and he's done well for himself. Number one on the list. Not us, outside the top 20. Snubbed again, but that's all right. And the list gets released when a lot of these guys are at Radio Row.
Click.
The Brady quote is getting a lot of heat.
As it should.
The Brady quote is wild.
Like, there's so many angles to this. Okay, say the Bills make the Super Bowl next year. And on Radio Row, there's Jim Kelly. Jim, who do you want to win? Bills or Eagles? Stupid question. What are you talking about? I'm doing my Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
Of course, that'd be a stupid question. Tom Brady, all-time greatest player in Patriot history, asked, who are you pulling for? Quote, I don't have a dog in the fight. Made the best team win. Are you effing kidding me? Are you serious?
There's a future in politics for this guy.
No, it's not even politics. Translation. I don't want Drake May taking anything away. I'm the quarterback who won in my second year. It can't be Drake May.
Once again, this sounds like a politician. Everything you're saying, this is perfect. This is exactly how it's going to go.
I am the man.
That's right. You are.
You are in the Patriot Hall of Fame. Did you not put on the red jacket? Did you not smile around? Is there not a statue of you in Foxborough?
They gave him a statue.
They gave you a statue.
I don't have a dog in this fight. I love it. I absolutely love it.
What a disingenuous, fake. Like any respect I had at all for Brady, just right out the window.
I don't know. I mean, He's a part owner of the Raiders now. He's a Fox broadcaster.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
Remember when journalists used to get mad if you showed any sort of
If you ask Troy Aikman,
fandom?
or you like, hey, the Cowboys made it to the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, at minimum, right? Yes, the personnel has changed since Tom Brady has been there. The Patriots currently that are on the field, I don't know the answer to this. Maybe there are a couple, but I would think there are front office people. I would think there are just employees, the parking lot attendant, people that you work with for years and you would be happy for. The correct answer is, and I actually think Josh Allen said this, right? Hey, what about Diggs and what about Hollins? You know what? I can't root for the Patriots, but I can root for my ex-teammates. I would be happy for them. You root for people. Same thing with Danger. Like, I have a friend. His name's Roger. Loves the Patriots. I can't stand him, but you know what? I'd be happy for him. And I will text him congratulations. Same thing with my buddy. You remember? He did Warm Nights, Zach Wood, many years.
Mm-hmm.
Loves the Seahawks. I would text him. Like, we all know fans of those teams.
Yeah.
You can't be happy for a team you spent 2 decades with, and then you're going to go into the Hall of Fame.
Do you think that now that he's left Boston, he hates it?
Yes, 100%.
Like, I spent my entire career in this miserable place. I don't ever want to playing for these awful humans.
Playing for a miserable, pervy coach.
Yeah.
And an owner that was total look at me, I deserve all the credit.
Right.
That's him saying F you.
Yeah.
And you know what? Would be authentic if you just aired out this dirty laundry and say, you know what? I'm happy for some people there, but not for that owner, or not for that head coach.
Right.
He's a politician.
But he can't say it because they made him, and they gave him a statue, and he's in the hall.
I think of Vince Wilfork, his quote on EEI. That's bullcrap, Tom. All that's political, and this ain't political. And then Gronkowski is hitting on exactly what Gronkowski went on Kay Adams. He probably wants to be the quarterback.
I think Gronk. I like Gronk's quote the best because Gronk doesn't have a filter. I don't think he's intelligent enough to censor himself in the moment. So I think he's going to say the thing that's top of mind.
No, see, I see him totally different. He is very intelligent. That is a persona.
Oh, I'm not saying he's frat boy Gronk all the time.
No, I think like
he's honest to a fault. Right? And so saying that is like, oh, he doesn't realize it. And saying that, he's kind of implicating Brady. But I believe what he's saying, that he probably wishes he was playing.
Okay, here's another angle. Asante Samuel now has weighed in.
Oh.
Says he's disappointed in not rooting for your ex-teammate Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, he was on the defensive side of the ball. Didn't really like that guy. Looks like a bigger, puffier Jonas brother. Not into it.
Diggs weighing it. Does Tony Romo still pull for the Cowboys? I think Peyton Manning still loves Denver. Right? Like you can't get that out of your blood. How could you?
Oh, that's going to be, well, at minimum, he gave everybody something to talk about here because we haven't spent a lot of time talking X's and O's or matchups or anything like injuries going into this game. I think we're just all waiting for the game on Sunday. We'll enjoy the game on Sunday, react to the game on Monday and the commercials and the halftime show and be outraged. And then we turn the page.
Chris writing in, when Brady was the quarterback for the Patriots, he openly wore a Yankees hat.
I remember that.
Yeah, he's always trolled the Patriots to an extent.
Yeah. I don't have a dog in the fight. He probably just didn't want to answer a question at that moment and just said, how do I get through this? I don't have a dog in the fight. Leave me alone.
It was on his radio show with Jim Gray.
Oh, he was being interviewed
by Jim Gray.
Oh,
Jim Gray tosses up a softball and
doesn't follow up.
Yeah, well, then Jim Gray. Okay, can I role play some follow up questions?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a dog in the fight, Jim. Really? Another one. I don't have a fight in this, Jim. Seriously, you're not pulling for the Patriots,
right?
The team that wrote you all those checks.
Right.
You didn't press him on it.
So good. Well done, Tom Brady.
Can you imagine Josh Allen someday wins a Super Bowl, retired? It's the Bills back in the Super Bowl 30 years later. I don't have a dog in the fight.
You're right. Amazing.
Oh.
Amazing quote.
Well, if Drake May pulls this off, Patriot fans can be like, you know what? That's our guy. That's in the past. Thank you, Tom. We are now Drake May. Even if he loses, you're feeling good about Drake May in the future.
We got to get to a round of shots next in the sports bar.
So that massive Nighthawk hit. Apparently, we have a ruling from the NLL on the goaltender Rylan Hartley.
Find out how many games we're going to miss here.
Yeah. So the Amerks in a little bit of a tailspin. Oh, yeah. The top college hockey player got in some trouble over the weekend. We'll go over that as well. Give you an update on the Olympics. Oh, yeah, and the NBA trade deadline for those that are into the NBA.
I can't keep up. It's too much, but we'll get into it as best we can with a round of shots next. And don't forget about Last Call, where you can have the final word in the sports bar. 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326.
Today was the day the coordinators were introduced out in Buffalo, namely Pete Carmichael Jr., offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, and Jeff Rogers, special teams coordinator. Leonard on his style.
We're going to be an attacking defense up front, in the back end. We're going to attack the football. You know, that's the biggest stat in football is turnovers. So we're going to be aggressive. We're going to fly around. We're going to communicate. We're going to play well together, right? It is team defense, but we're going to cause issues for offense, and we're going to force them to react to us.
Tonight we'll learn who the NFL MVP is. It's the NFL Honors. Sabres and Penguins tonight, 7 o'clock for our coverage. The final game for Buffalo before the Olympic break. U.S. women today win over Chechnya 5-1. Giannis Antetokounmpo not traded. Gene Battaglia in the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Listen to 95.7 The Fan Rochester on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps, and take the sports leader with you everywhere you go.
Happy hour continues in the sports bar. Thanks for joining us. Danger and Battaglia with a round of shots.
Milwaukee Bucks currently in 12th place of the Eastern Conference, trailing 10th place Chicago by 3 games for the final play-in slot. That doesn't sound promising, but the Bucks aren't giving up hope. They capped Giannis at the deadline. Only one more year the Bucks have guaranteed with Giannis. He's got a player option for 27-28, making a trade this offseason likely. Giannis today putting out the movie theme there.
From Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't like how he put. I think. I want to give him a little bit of grace because I still think he struggles. I think he means well when he says things, but it doesn't come off right to me. Because with Giannis being in the news as much as he's been, a lot of people are going back to the quote that it drives me crazy, the failure quote, right?
Yeah.
Like he gets asked, was this season a failure? And Giannis pivots and basically throws it back on the reporter and says, if you didn't get the promotion this year, was your year a failure? Whatever it is, right? Now, while I appreciate what he's trying to say, he's not saying it the right way. He's not articulating it. I'm going to get back to the tweet in a second. But what he could have said in that moment was, yes, this season was a failure. My coach is about to lose his job. We are going to grow and improve and be better from this failure. But he didn't. Instead, he kind of turned it around and
it's some youth league game.
Yeah,
where, nobody should feel bad about anything.
It's a series of fail. I think he's trying to say is you make mistakes and you learn from those mistakes and you get better from those mistakes. And I think we can all agree with that. But the way he comes off, just to me, comes off soft or weak. And today, the tweet to go with the meme of Leo DiCaprio and the Wolf of Wall Street saying, I ain't going anywhere. What did he say? Legends attract?
Yeah.
Something? What was it?
100%. Yeah, it's something legends attract.
Legends attract. And I'm like, not legends. That's not the word you're looking for there. Leaders. Be a leader. You need to be the leader of that because you got one. Be a leader. Yes, leaders attract. You will get others to follow you if you act like a leader. And I don't know. Sometimes I just don't think I think he's a little soft. I don't think he acts like a leader all the time.
Even though we don't have the opening ceremonies for the Olympics until tomorrow night, we're off and running at the Olympics. The U.S. women's hockey team defeating Chechnya 5-1. Buffalo's Haley Skimura, 2 goals. Webster's Haley win a +3 today.
I'm kind of bummed that you broke the news to me today that she's a sports bar alum. She came into the sports bar, and I wasn't here.
You weren't there. Well, you were over in Europe.
I know her brother.
How do you know her brother?
Her brother was kind of amassing a large social following with the work he was doing. He's a hockey player and fun guy, wild hair, just a big personality. And so he and I were communicating a lot before the pandemic, and I realized you could see it if you follow him on social media. His sister's a really good hockey player, and of course, she's an Olympian now. And +3 today, so a nice start for the campaign for the women's team. And wouldn't it be something if it comes down to USA, Canada, both women's and men's hockey? That would be.
It probably will.
That will be fun.
Probably will. Well, I'm not sure about Finland's women's hockey team. Today was supposed to be Canada opening up against Finland. They've moved that now to February 12th. Finland couldn't field the team today. Several members of the team battling the norovirus. It's dinner hour, so I'm not going to describe the norovirus to you. If you don't know, you know. Let's just hope it.
Is that why you're not going to bring it up during the dinner hour?
During the dinner hour, no.
During supper?
Yeah. Presumptive number 1 overall pick in the NHL draft, Gavin McKenna. He's being charged with felony aggravated assault. Police say McKenna allegedly struck a 21-year-old. This happening at Penn State coming up on Saturday night. McKenna being paid $700,000 by the Nittany Lions to play for the team this year.
Oh, wow.
So, but he pretty much.
Jeez, really? $700,000 for a college hockey player.
It's got to be the record, right?
Good for him. Not good that he's getting into a bar fight. I don't like that, but that's, I mean, college hockey is a nice draw, but I didn't know you would command that kind of a payday to play college hockey. That's nice.
You know, there is an Olympics without a doping scandal, right?
We have one?
We do. I'm debating whether to read this or not. Oh, what the hell? This courtesy of The Athletic. Reports have surfaced before the Winter Olympics that alleged ski jumpers are injecting their penises with hyaluronic acid to fly farther. The World Anti-Doping Agency is investigating.
Hold on a second. Lots of penis talk the last couple of days in the world of sports. Okay, first you got Vrabel saying he would cut off half of his and leave his wife with 6. Not going to lie. Kind of a funny joke. But still wildly inappropriate. Don't need to hear that.
No, Mike, no. Stop.
And now we're injecting our penises with what at the Olympics? To what?
Hyaluronic. I don't know. HA it's called.
Does it?
It is a natural gooey substance found in skin, joints, and connective tissues that binds to water.
Are we trying to enhance? Are we trying to be more aerodynamic?
Aerodynamic, perhaps.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's shrinking their unit. Is that what it's doing?
Benefits include plumper skin, reduce wrinkles.
Doesn't sound like that's going to shrink anything.
Improve joint mobility.
Okay. This is for the ski jumpers?
Yeah, maybe you're tucking it somewhere. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if I can watch ski jumping now. I'm not really interested.
I don't want to be looking.
I'm not really interested in watching a ski jumper with a giant wrench hanging from below his.
Well, who's
from between
doing
his legs.
that? Like, hey, trainer, come over here. Like, what? Oh.
What's that? That ski jumper has 3 legs. What is going on at the Olympics? They're injecting themselves. You don't inject yourself there. That's the price of gold is not worth it. No. Draw the line.
Say no to drugs.
Where are they from? Where are these athletes from that are doing this?
I don't know.
Is it all ski jumpers?
All ski jumpers.
This is a trend within the ski jumping community?
This will be on your favorite morning show tomorrow,
God bless
I'm sure.
You, Thank you for bringing it up. That's terrible news. Now I can't watch ski jumping.
Gold. Yeah. On a much lighter note, actually, the Amerks. Following last night's 3-1 loss to Belleville, the Amerks are now tied with the Sens for the 5th and final playoff spot in the North. Oh, no, but the Amerks do have 4 games in hand. Rochester home tomorrow night against Springfield, wrapping up that 6-game home series.
Got to get a win. And we'll talk to head coach Mike Leone again here on The Fan come Tuesday.
That massive hit by Nighthawk goaltender Rylan Hartley. This went viral. Hartley laying out a Vancouver player. Was it dirty? Well, the officials... They charged Hartley with a match penalty, and that match penalty comes with an automatic 1-game suspension. Reporter Adam Levy says today, no, there's not going to be any additional punishment coming from the league.
That's good news, actually, because he killed a man on that field. And usually that means you go to jail for a long time. But he's only going to miss 1 game for killing somebody.
That is like something out of NFL biggest hits from the 1980s or something. Like the safety coming over and the wide receiver.
You would see that in the, yeah. I mean, if you want to have a laugh as to how soft the NFL has become, go back and watch the intro to the NFL Today on CBS. The montage of the violent collisions and hits and guys getting decapitated in the middle of the field.
But just dirty play, like, I'm going to step on your back.
Yeah,
I'm going to
body slam you. I mean, it's just a montage of violence. So, yeah, Hartley getting 1-game suspension, I think, is good news considering he murdered somebody on a field. That's good news. We get to see him again.
The Detroit Tigers got a big arm in free agency. Lefty Framber Valdez, 3 years, $115 million. Now you pair him with Tariq Skubal. Skubal, by the way, won his arbitration case. Who cares? Detroit is set for another postseason run. Valdez, you remember this? Maybe he wore out his welcome in Houston after giving up a grand slam to the Yankees. Next pitch, he intentionally hit his own catcher by not throwing the pitch that was called for.
Remember that? This guy's a douche. What an absolute douche move.
It was the only time where the catcher gets up. I thought his own catcher was going to charge the mound against his own pitcher.
So bad. Remember how angry they looked at each other? I'd be like, that guy needed to go. That's a bad guy. Good luck. Maybe it changes to maybe a season in Detroit makes him. What does that do to you? Does that make you more aggressive? Does that make you more testy?
He's getting paid $115 million. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Quick break. Last call next. You can have the final word. 866-4326. 585-866-4FAN.
With Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Last call on the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia, and I know when we put out the bat light for last call at 866-4326, there's always one regular that will raise his hand. Heed the call. The Spartan, the legend, the one and only, John from Rochester. Hey, buddy.
Hey guys, I can't get excited over this game. I'm gonna have a tough time watching this game. I mean, we all know this should have been the Buffalo Bills. There's no doubt about it. But I gotta say, I think Seattle's gonna win big. And I usually pull for the AFC, but I don't know about this game. I'm a little ticked off at New England, a little envious, a little jealous. But I'm pulling for Doug Marrone. When Doug Marrone was our coach, and when he coached Syracuse, I loved the guy. I'll tell you, he could have been something if he stayed in Buffalo.
John, respectfully, that's
It's so good. So good.
He had me.
You knew he was going there.
No, I thought he was going to say, I'm pulling for Leslie Frazier.
Or Diggs. Could have said Diggs. Diggs wouldn't have been as aggressive. You can't root for Marrone. You can't root for
Not
that
at
weasel.
all.
You can't root for that coward. No, John.
Quit. He's a quitter. He thought he had the Jets gig lined up, and he didn't.
I love that guy. He just calls to troll. That's a good pull. That was a good troll take.
Oh, he just took me right down a path I didn't expect.
Really good troll
Wow.
take. I really liked him when he was with Syracuse and when he was our coach here. I really liked Doug Marrone. John, no.
There is nobody in Rochester that would be like, yeah, I'm happy for Doug Marrone. That guy gets a Super Bowl ring.
Great troll. Great troll. I am Frazier, yes. Frazier, I will root for. Love Leslie Frazier. We'll root for that guy. Pulling for Seattle. Doug Marrone, shoot him into the sun. No. That guy is a coward. He's a loser. No.
Tomorrow on the show, you, my friend, are not here. You're on assignment, but we will have 3 hours of excellence. We will talk Amerks hockey. We will talk to RJ Ochoa on Super Bowl Row. Against my better judgment, Terrible Take Timmy will also be coming in.
All right, very good. That's tomorrow afternoon. Everybody enjoy Super Bowl weekend. I will be back with Gino come Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock. We will react to all of it. If you missed any of today's show, find the Sports Bar wherever you get your podcasts. Search out the Sports Bar, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, or our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester. You can like and subscribe while you're there as well. BetMGM tonight with Brad Evans and Pat Boyle. On the way next. Have a great night. The Fan Rochester.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. 95.7 FM and